Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone out there. Welcome to America, where we can choose to wear or not to wear a mask tonight. In California, excuse me. So, okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Closed session report, Mr. City Attorney.
We have nothing to report outside of closed session.
Okay. Mr. City Attorney, would you lead us in the pledge?
I will. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Luevanos? Here. Councilmember Judge?
Here.
Councilmember Kavanaugh?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Litster?
Here.
And Mayor Mashburn?
Here. Are there any items for agenda review?
Mr. Mayor, we have two items. We'd like to pull consent item 6. We need to make a few changes to that, so we'll bring it back at a future meeting. And on the dais in front of you, there is a revised page on consent 7. It notes that the agreement has been signed by the developer and numbers have been filled in for the agreement. So it's just a further completed document.
Thank you.
I move that all resolutions and ordinances presented tonight be read in title only and all further reading be waived.
Second.
Motion and second. Call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Declaration of conflict. If any member of the city council may have a conflict of interest or any reason why that member must abstain from consideration of any matter on this agenda, he or she should so declare at this time. Seeing no one, we'll go to the next.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the next item on the agenda is item 2, public statements on appointments, special presentations, and informational reports. All comments submitted by email have been provided to the City Council. However, they will not be read by the City Clerk this evening. Speakers will be called on in the order in which their card was submitted, followed by speakers who are signed on to Zoom to speak for this public statements item 2 for a period of no more than 3 minutes each. Persons addressing the City Council are requested to state their name and community of residence for the record. Mr. Mayor, we have no speaker cards for in-person speakers. We'll check with Zoom.
Okay.
There are no speakers on Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the next item on the agenda is item 3B1, special presentation of the State of Moorpark College and Ventura County Community College District Trustee Bernardo Perez and President of Moorpark College, Julia Sokanu, are here for this presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city manager, city staff, and the viewing community at home and here in the audience. I am Bernardo Perez, and I'm honored to be here tonight representing you and the residents of the 4th District on the Ventura County Community College District Board of Trustees. I am pleased to introduce to you and to the community Moorpark College President Julius Sokenu, who together with his team will present the college's annual report to the City Council. But before you hear from Julius, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I present you with a copy of the district's 2021 annual report, which you should have at the dais there, which highlights our accomplishments and looks to the future. We look forward to the year ahead. There is much to be excited about as our colleges and the community once again reemerge from the impacts of the pandemic. I'm excited to share with you that all 3 of our community colleges have recently been recognized as top 100 colleges and universities for Hispanics in the U.S. by the Hispanic Outlook, And Moorpark College has advanced to the next qualifying round for the 2023 Aspen Prize for College Excellence. It is important to honor the efforts of our community colleges over the course of this pandemic 2 years for unprecedented outreach to and support of all of our students. Now I would like to invite Dr. Julius Susana to come forward, introduce his team, and share exciting updates and information about Moorpark College. Thank you. It's all yours.
Thank you so much, Trustee Perez. I want to thank you so much, Mayor, the council, our city manager, and for the support that you've provided to Moorpark College over the past 54 years of the college's existence. I do want to say, introduce some members of my team and from our college that are here today. We have a director of our advancement and the chief advancement officer for our foundation, Debbie Klein. And we also have the chair of the Moorpark College Foundation. And no one chairs better and supports Moorpark College than Jill Haney. So a big thank you to them both for joining me this evening and for being here with you. As the trustee mentioned, you have a fantastic community college in your community. And the success of Moorpark College is really part of your success. And so as we are identified as an Aspen 30 college, which means they started with 150, they'll whittle it down to 30, they'll whittle it down to 10, and then hopefully 1 or 3 colleges will get that $1 million prize. Today, I'll tell you some of the things that we're doing that will probably get us that $1 million prize, but I will also tell you how you can partner with us as we move the college further. Next slide, please. As you see, both our college and the city of Simi Valley have a lot in common. If you look at the mission statements, you will see that we're both invested in excellence, accountability, we're a service to the community, and in so doing, we look at ways in which we can access the resources that are available in our community and not only build capacity, but use that capacity to shape our future. Next slide, please. And so, next slide. So what you see is that not only are we your community college, but as your community college, there's a great deal of work that's happening in our community and on our campus. I'm not going to read the slide to you, but I'm going to tell you a few things. And you do have slides, and I have copies of the slide here if we need them. But we are that institution that helps all of Simi Valley and all of the folks that we serve. And how do we do that work? Because we prepare folks for high wage, high skill, high demand careers. We prepare all of Simi Valley, whether they're traditional students who are coming right out of high school, or they are adults who are returning to college after having raised their children, or having had a career, or having had a business, or for those individuals who are currently have degrees and they want to enhance their skills. And we at Moorpark College do that work. So the zoo, our zoo has been a solace to so many people during the COVID pandemic. Our campus actually has been a solace to many people during the COVID pandemic. But how have we done that? Because our zoo was one of those few places that was opened because they were outdoors, and you could see families on our campus. We had the best attendance post-COVID and during COVID. And that's because you have this world-class zoo, one of only 2 teaching zoos in the country, I might boast. And most importantly, that zoo is there for you and for our community, and our families make use of it. What else do we do? Well, we have a 90% chance of your student or you yourselves coming to Moorpark College and going through our honors program and getting into UCLA. So tell your friends, tell your family, if you want to get into UCLA, where do you go? Go to Moorpark College. A 90% chance of getting into UCLA. So as you can see there, we also have some very new programs that we're providing: data science, biotech, cybersecurity, and many more. And I'll talk to you about some of those as we continue this presentation. And it's a brief one, because I definitely want you to not only hear what the main points are, but how you can help us. So we continue our strong partnerships with Simi Valley community, with its organizations and schools and families. So a big thank you. First of all, it's not on the list, and that's an error on my part. The Simi Valley Rotary Foundation, which gave us $25,000 to distribute for scholarships. One of our more robust donations recently, and we're very grateful to them. We're also grateful to the Simi Valley Kiwanis Club for their ongoing support of our Circle K program. And the work that they do in the community is one that we're always in support of. We have great partnerships with our high schools and with the local high schools here. And the important thing is that we're preparing people for careers in entertainment and in other high-wage, high-skill areas. Next slide, please. So what did we do? How did we support Simi Valley and its residents, as well as the residents of Moorpark and Thousand Oaks and Oak Park, whatever else in our community that folks come from? Well, during the pandemic when families were struggling, during the pandemic when we were all just frightened, right? Folks were losing jobs and folks were really afraid to go out. What did we do as a college? We reached out and we provide support to our students. So we gave students $1,000 and we said, if you are going to take 6 units or more, we have all this money coming from the feds, we'll pay you to come back to college. That's important because we lost 11,000 students over the past 3 years as an institution. Either folks couldn't come back to school because they lost jobs and they had to go back to work, or they lost a family member and they were trying to deal with all of that, or they were just really overwhelmed. And so being able to provide them that $1,000 to come take 6 units, which is just half time, that helped to get people back to school and back to work. And we have a college promise, like our sister colleges, which we provide free tuition for first-time students. This is for first-time students only, and who are recently graduated from high school. One of our goals is to work with the state so that we can offer that same promise to our adult learners. Next slide, please. So what are we doing? What are we doing in the community? Well, we're providing career pathways and partnerships. Biotech is very big. Biotech is one of the areas, along with cybersecurity, where there are jobs, and very great paying jobs. And our college helps to prepare individuals for that. We have a biotech laboratory on our campus that is the envy of many institutions. And we actually end up renting the biotech lab space out to the small incubators. The other things that we do, as you'll see us on that slide, is that we have members of the community who serve on advisory boards so that they can help our curriculum be more relevant and responsive to the needs of our community. We have certification and degree pathways that get students from school to work, or even while they're at school, they can actually go to work. If you scale your certificates, you can work while you're going to school. And we're very proud of the work and the support of our alumni. And our alumni in biotech in particular take an extra caution to make sure that they reach out to students and help those students continue in the career pathway in biotech. Next slide, please. We have a fantastic partnership with businesses in Simi Valley and across the county, to be precise. We have 7,500 regional employers and an account. 5,000 of them that are posted in Handshake. So if you have a small business in Simi Valley, if you have a big business in Simi Valley, and if you have a medium-sized business in Simi Valley, Moorpark College can help post your openings. And we know that there's a lot of openings with fewer people to actually take those jobs. So that's one of the things that we do. As I said, we collaborate with the Unified School District to develop career pathways. We also work with Parks and Recs. We have a partnership with Simi Valley Adventist Hospital that I will speak to shortly. We have helped to provide pathways to careers in law enforcement and for peace officers. And we do that, not only have we had partnerships with the Simi Valley Police Department, where we've had interns, but we're also doing that across the county with other areas. And that's one of the areas where we could have more work to partner with our law enforcement folks so we can build careers for students who are in our criminal justice program. Next slide, please. So what are some new programs that we want you to know so that you can tell your family members? Data science, additional biotech programs. We have an open house next week, Wednesday on the 9th from 5 to 7. It's a free open house. It's also available virtually. And you will hear from individuals and you will see individuals who are in biotech, talking about careers in biotech, going through our lab space, so that you can get a sense of what your student will get when they come to us. They already have access to the industry. Cybersecurity, one of the things I need you to if those of you who are praying people, pray for us and keep us in your thoughts, is that Moorpark College is one of a handful of institutions who've been invited to participate in a selection process where we could actually get to offer bachelor's degrees at the institution. There's 2 degree pathways that we're looking at, one that we put forward this year, and the other one we'll put forward next year. The biotech one is one we've put forward this year. And our intention is that students can get a biotech degree, a bachelor's degree in biotech, at Moorpark College. We'll find out later on this year if we do get that option. And if we do, then you do not have to travel to another institution. A bachelor's degree in biotech will be available to you on our campus in your community. Fitness, leadership, electronics technician, mechatronics, which is a combination of engineering and computer science. And that is a high-paying job. And there's smaller programs across the country, and we're at a community college, and we're one of the few ones that have actually had this program. And we're now partnering with Channel Islands and other institutions to make sure that there's a pathway for careers in mechatronics. As well as solar tech, we also have certificate programs as well as programs that are non-credit for individuals who are looking to really build work skills while they rehabilitate. Next slide, please. So I talked to you about our partnerships. These are some of our partners that we have with businesses in Simi Valley. And I'd just like to sort of share with you that the Cope Health Scholar program is one we have with Simi Valley Adventist. And that is a prestigious program. We have 100+ students who've participated in that program and who are participating in that program. And it gets them into nursing school and it gets them into pre-med programs pretty smoothly. So those are some of the things that we do, and this is some of the things that your community college does to support economic vitality, to support the lives of families in Simi Valley and beyond. Next slide, please. So what's happening at Moorpark College lately? Well, we have a partnership with Simi Valley Adventist Hospital, and that partnership we're very proud of. It will allow us to fund part of our basic needs center and support the needs for students who are hungry. You think, okay, we live in this wonderful, beautiful community. Well, there are students who are hungry. There are students who are living in their cars, and they need basic needs. And part of the work we do at the college is to feed the hungry students so that they can study, provide them resources so they can succeed in their lives. We also do career development work, and so Simi Valley Adventists will be partnering with us by providing scholarships, by providing in-kind opportunities for students to participate in clinical training at their facilities, and they offer internships, and not just to our allied health students, but to a range of students across our institution, in business, in accounting, in engineering. So this partnership with Adventist Simi Valley is a unique one, because most institutions don't have them. They're not just coming to support one aspect, they're supporting a variety of aspects across the institution. Healthcare, athletic programs. And this is a build-up on the commitment that Jennifer Swenson, the CEO at that organization, has, making sure that they connect the well-being and the health of our community members to resources. And we're one of those resources. There will be an event on April, what is it again, Debbie? April 11th, where we will celebrate this partnership. You will get invitations to attend it. It'll be on our beautiful campus. And we are showing our college colleagues that partnerships between the public and the private sector is important for our ongoing success. Next slide, please. So this tells you how much Adventist Health Simi Valley is investing in Moorpark College. Over the next 3 years, the contributions of all of those projects will add up to $588,000. And as they tell us, this is just the beginning. And so we're very proud of that. Next slide, please. So when COVID happened, we discovered that we needed to have more outdoor performance and classroom spaces. And our performing arts folks, our folks in our communications programs, folks in our zoo said, you know what, it would be really great to have a bigger outdoor space where we can study and where we can engage. And so this is what's happening. This is a clear picture of our dream, and this is how you can help us, and this is how we can support one another. We're looking at building this amphitheater on our great lawn. So if you know where our campus is and you know where the library is and the lawn that goes between the library and the gym, that big space is where we intend to build this amphitheater. And you have a rendering of the amphitheater right there. What you see behind you is the mountains. And we're planning to have 912 people in it when we're thinking of COVID and 6 feet distancing. It should probably, when the time we're done, should be able to sit about 3,000 people. Between Santa Barbara and LA County, there is no bowl, right? We will have the Moorpark College Bowl. That's our goal. At this point, it's about an $8 million project. Our goal is to go out with our foundation and to partner with the communities that we serve in. So we've reached out to Moorpark, and we'll be reaching out to you next and saying, how can we partner? How can we make this happen? Because we know this is good for business. We know that folks will come to the cities where they are enjoying entertainment, or the adjacent cities where they're enjoying entertainment, and that this will bring much more vitality and will bring the caliber of individuals that we want to enjoy the kinds of entertainment that's available in our community. The other project that we're working on is our beach volleyball stadium. We have tennis courts that need major renovation, and we've decided that we're not going to renovate the tennis courts, and instead we're going to put up a beach volleyball stadium. We have a women's beach volleyball team that is award-winning, and we have the opportunity to partner with the college and some business entities to put together a beach volleyball stadium. 8 regulation courts, spectator seating, it is just going to be phenomenal. And so those 2 projects are areas in which, when I say what's my ask is that you as our community members support this. We will give you more information about it. But we know that we have a partnership with the city of Simi Valley, and that part of that partnership is because we have shared values, we have a shared vision, and clearly we have a shared future. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you this evening. And again, we appreciate the support that you've provided our campus and the community's overarching belief in what we do.
Dr. Sokanu, we are very privileged to have our college here between the city of Moorpark and Simi Valley. We're also very privileged to have you as the president of our college. So thank you so much, and thank you for the great presentation.
Thank you, sir.
One last comment, Mayor and council members. If you haven't been out to the college recently, or to put a lot of these great plans into perspective, I'm going to put Julius to work. He would love to give you all a tour individually or collectively, and you could just see in better perspective the great plans for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have Mayor Pro Tem Litzer would like to speak.
Actually, I just want to say thank you. Wonderful presentation. My youngest son is a student at Moorpark College. He was thrilled to receive those funds. I want you to know that I'm convinced that he has been more successful with his studying because of that relief in terms of his needing to work part-time, et cetera. So I just want to say thank you. Just a quick question. You had mentioned possible 2 bachelor's degrees. You mentioned the first, which is the biotech. Fabulous. The second?
The second is cybersecurity.
That's right.
And the intention is we have a phenomenal computer network systems engineering program, and we are one of a handful of colleges that have the Amazon Web Service certification. So when students finish at our institution going through that program, they must automatically have Amazon Web Service status, and that certification gets them really great access to work. And part of what we're doing now is partnering with vendors in the cybersecurity world and building curriculum that will foster that. We already have some curriculum that's doing that. So our goal is to make sure that when that curriculum is ready, we can go to the state and put together a proposal for a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity. As you know, there's a partnership with the CSUs that we can't have the same degree that they have. It can't be duplicated, but we find a particular portion of cybersecurity that they're not doing in our local CSUs that we would like to do. And we already have commitments now from Channel Islands to actually continue in that pathway. So that's a recent development. So those are 2, and we're looking forward to being able to deliver the biotech at least first next year. Hopefully we'll get it. Keep our fingers crossed.
Excellent.
Thank you. Also, Councilmember Lou Evanos would like to speak to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Perez, Dr. Sacano, thank you so much for this presentation. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I have many friends that attend Moorpark College. Both of my children attended Moorpark College when they were in high school. My daughter's still in high school, and my son did as well. And I have to tell you, I was just so impressed by the Basic Needs Center to reach out to the students. And we do have a lot of food insecure and housing insecure students. But for you to set up that voucher, that food pantry to make sure that basic needs were met, we have a lot of college students, including community college students, that don't know where their next meal is coming from. So for you to do that, it's just incredible. I just want to thank you. You really are in it for improving outcomes for our community and for college students. And I do have single mothers that are friends that attend Moorpark College, and they're always raving about the programs there. I think this Moorpark Bowl is a phenomenal idea. I wanted to get up out of my chair and cheer because I think it would just really revitalize this area, this region. And so I wanted to thank you for doing that, for putting that together, and for having the vision, more than anything, to look forward and see where the future is in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of solar, renewable energy jobs, in terms of those high-paying jobs, and making that bridge for our students. My daughter attends Santa Susana High School, and I know there are students from Apollo and Santa Susana and Monte Vista and Simi and Royal and all of our schools. But your programs even extend to middle school students here. So I always tell the kids, hey, once you're in 8th grade, you can go to Moorpark College. And we do have students that graduate from high schools here in Simi Valley with their AA degree from Moorpark College as well, which is phenomenal. So thank you both for this presentation, and we're here to support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, may I say something real quick? I'm sorry. I'm just going to tag on to what they do too, but I just wanted to compliment you both. And Moorpark is such a gem in our area, and our whole community college district is pretty much award-winning and one of the best in California. So I just want to make sure everyone knows that. We have 3, Moorpark, Ventura, and Oxnard, and they're all very good. And I'm very happy to see the relationship with Adventist Health. I'm a former board member, and Jill's currently on the board with them. So it's really nice to see them working well with our local community college. I only have one question. Can we change it to Simi Valley College by any chance?
I was afraid to suggest that. And I think we only have to move it a few hundred
Well,
yards.
I know,
Well,
I'm
we
going to
do-
tell
we do-
Bernardo, sorry.
Well, we do have a joint Boys and Girls Club now.
That's
so
true,
the
that's
precedent
true.
has been set.
Okay, we'll settle for
So
that.
there is space to change it.
Well, Julius will come calling,
Uh-oh.
maybe naming rights or something like that for the bowl.
But all those programs are just wonderful. I wasn't even aware of all the variety, the large variety. So that's wonderful that you came and presented to us so that we can share that information also. So thank you.
We'll have somebody from the mayor's office and council's office call Julius's office, and let's line up that tour.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
You have to represent us.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the next item on the agenda is item 3C1, informational presentation by Youth Council Member Mateus Brokey.
Good evening, Mayor Mashburn and members of the City Council. My name is Mateus Brocchi, and I'm a junior at Santa Susana High School, as well as a second-term community-at-large representative on the Youth Council. I would like to preface this report by saying it is an honor to be here. Tonight, I'll be providing an overview of the Youth Council's activities and recent actions. I am excited to say that the Youth Symposium, the combined event of the Youth Town Hall and the Youth Summit, is well on its way. The event will take place on Thursday, March 10th, and we are extremely happy that this event is finally happening. We are working extremely hard with the staff at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute so that everything runs smoothly. With the focus on mental health, our confirmed Youth Town Hall panelists include Dr. Hani Youssef, Dr. Angelica Chavez, and our very own Chief of Police, David Livingstone. We hope that you will be able to stop by and join us to see what the youth in Simi Valley is up to. As we continue proceeding into 2022, our various committees have been hard at work forming proposals, committee plans, and virtual content on behalf of the Youth Council. All of our committees are in full swing, working to complete our work plan goals. These committees include mental health, school infrastructure, sexual assault awareness and prevention, fundraising, youth summit, and talent show. Several of these committees have given specific reports as to their accomplishments throughout the last several weeks. Our social media committee has been primarily focused on keeping up to date with the content for our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube accounts. Next, our mental health committee, fundraising committee, and the sexual assault awareness committee, which I am proudly chair of, have formulated specific work plans and proposals respective to each committee. Our school infrastructure committee will be meeting with the school district staff next week to discuss concerns and proposed solutions regarding internet accessibility and gender-inclusive restrooms. More news. We welcomed new member Jasleen Sidhu during our last meeting and created the Tobacco Use Prevention Education Committee. We're all extremely happy to once again be working with bright young youth in our Simi Valley Unified School District on a service learning project to help reduce tobacco and vaping use amongst teenagers. With our annual talent show coming up on Friday, May 20th, we are actively seeking solo and group acts to perform. If you or a friend or a family member love to sing, dance, play a musical instrument, or are in a band, go to bit.ly/YCTalentREG to register by April 22nd. Acts can choose to compete for cash prizes or perform just for fun. The best news is that the talent show will be held in person on the Cultural Arts Center's main stage. On a lighter note, you can probably see how busy the Youth Council committees are, but that's what's so good about being a Youth Council member. Through all the hard work, it's so rewarding at the end of the day, and we're extremely grateful to be a part of this group of like-minded peers. I encourage everyone to follow us on Instagram at Simi Valley Youth Council to stay updated on our most recent events and developments. And with that, I now conclude our Youth Council informational report. I would like to express my gratitude to the members of the City Council and Mayor Mashburn for this opportunity to speak today. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Good job. I would like to report to you, not ask you a question, but report to you that this staff is very supportive of the Youth Council. And we recently met with a company that is very excited to learn more about the Youth Council. And we'll be bringing you more information on that in the near future. But I think it's something that will benefit the Youth Council, and you too will be excited about. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question, Mayor,
Sure.
if I may. Is the youth symposium, who is that open to? Who can attend? I'm just trying to give you some free advertising.
So our main audience is students for the Youth Town Hall especially. I'm pretty sure the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute is sending out emails to teachers at specific schools, high schools and middle schools, and to get students to join our event on mental health. For the Youth Summit, however, I think it's open to more people, but still mostly students.
Okay. At elementary, middle, high school?
I wouldn't be opposed to an elementary schooler being at the Youth Summit since it's such an inclusive event, but we will be discussing more serious topics within like a high schooler and more upper middle schooler level, so it is something to be wary about.
And you'll be promoting all this on social media, yes?
It's all on social media.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the next item on the agenda is public hearings. This is the time for testimony on public hearings on the consideration of matters as presented on this agenda. Let the record show that due notice was given as required by law, and an affidavit to this effect is on file in the City Clerk's office. All comments submitted by email have already been provided to the City Council and will be made part of the record. However, they will not be read by the City Clerk this evening. Speakers will be called on in the order in which the card was submitted, followed by speakers who are signed on to Zoom to speak for this public testimony, item 4, for a period of no more than 5 minutes each. Persons addressing the City Council are requested to state their name and community of residence for the record. Comments shall be limited to a matter relevant to the item on the agenda and may be ruled out of order if comments are unrelated to the item. The reports of city staff relating to these matters shall be made part of the record of this meeting. If you challenge in court any of the City Council decisions made here tonight, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at this public hearing. The time within which judicial review must be sought is governed by California Code of Civil Procedure, Section 1094.6. Agenda item 4A. A public hearing to consider a request from Susana GRF2 LLC for the approval of a planned development permit PD-S-2021-0005, tentative parcel map TP-S-2020-0001, and affordable housing agreement AHA-2021-0001 for the construction of a mixed-use project containing 280 apartment units with 14 units set aside for qualified very low-income renters, 4,750 square feet of commercial space, the subdivision of the project site into 3 parcels, related development incentive and waivers, and adoption of a mitigated negative declaration and mitigated monitoring plan located at 2196 Tapple Street, and adoption of resolutions. The reading of the resolutions is as follows. Resolution number 2022-08, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley approving Plan Development Permit PDS 2021-0005 and tentative parcel map TPS 2021-0001 to develop a four-story mixed-use project consisting of 280 apartment units and 4,750 square feet of new commercial space within an existing shopping center, subdivision of the site into 3 parcels, and inclusion of affordable housing units, development concessions, and development waivers, and the project's mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring plan. And resolution number 2022-09, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley approving an affordable housing agreement, AHA 2021-0001, with Santa Susana GRF2 LLC for the development Santa Susana project for property located at 2196 Tapo Street. And Sean Gibson, Claudia Pedroso, and Mara Mulch are here for this presentation.
Good evening, Mayor Mashburn, members of the City Council.
One moment, Sean. Are there any ex parte communications to report?
I have met with the developer on this project to see an overview of the project.
Okay.
I met with the developer maybe over a year ago about the project to find out about it, and also have spoken with a couple of residents that live directly in that area.
Okay.
I met with the developer about a year ago and then recently, and then he also came to the Affordable Housing Subcommittee.
Okay. Thank you. I also, I think it's probably the same time period, met with the developer and looked it over. So with that, I'm sorry, Sean, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening again, Mayor Mashburn and members of the City Council. Tonight is a culmination of almost 4 years of working with our applicants tonight to re-envision Santa Susana Plaza, located on the east side of Tapo Street, south of Cochran Street. As supported by our general plan, tonight's project redevelops a portion of the Santa Susana Plaza with a mixed-use project adding 280 apartment units into the north half of the center with a pedestrian-friendly design and to help reinvigorate Tapo Street. The applicant's original design was a 100% market rate project, but as the project evolved through many meetings with staff and to comply with the city's development code requirements, the applicant added 14 additional units, or 14 affordable units, for very low-income households, and those will be set in place over a 55-year term. These 14 units proposed are in full compliance with state housing law, which are similar to many other affordable projects previously approved by the city. And our principal planner, Claudia Pedroso, will now proceed with the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. The applicant, Santa Susana GRF2 LLC, is proposing a redevelopment of the Santa Susana Plaza, which will include maintaining the southerly portion of the shopping center and the construction of a mixed-use project consisting, like we mentioned, 280 apartment units with 14 affordable units, about 5,000 square feet of retail or commercial space, and also the subdivision of the project into 3 parcels, adoption of the mitigated negative declaration and monitoring plan, as well as an affordable housing agreement. A little bit of background on the project. The project was presented to Neighborhood Council 1 and 2 back in December 2021. Neighborhood Council number 1 recommended approval by a vote of 8 to 2, and the audience did not have a vote. Neighborhood Council number 2 recommended approval by a vote of 8-0, and the audience also recommended approval by a vote of 3-0 on the project. In January 19, 2022, the Planning Commission heard this project and recommended approval of the project, and also added a condition, 826, for the density calculations, that relates to the density calculations, and also had additional comments regarding the east elevation, one of the waivers, and the possibility of adding more affordable housing units. In January 27, 2022, the Affordable Housing Subcommittee also reviewed the project and also recommended approval of the project as presented, but requested the applicant to study the possibility of providing additional affordable units. And tonight, we're presenting this project to the council. The project site is located on Tapo Street and is bordered to the north by Cochran Street, to the south Alpine Street, and to the east, we have an alleyway, but also Workman Avenue, and again, on the west side is Tapo Street. And also the property zone, commercial plan development, CPD, and it has a mixed-use overlay, and also is within the Tapo area planning overlay. This is where the project is located. The project site is proposed to be subdivided into 3 parcels. Parcel 1, which is 0.69 acres, and contains the Taco Bell restaurant, is here on the, there we go, on the north end of the parcel. Parcel 2 in the middle will be 5.33 acres, and this is the site where the proposed project is going to be located. And parcel 3, which will be 8.55 acres, will contain the remainder of the shopping center as well as the driveway that connects to Cochran Street. Approval of the parcel map application also includes a condition to submit a maintenance agreement and CCNRs for the reciprocal access and maintenance of the common areas. The general plan land use designation for this site is mixed use within the Tapo area planning overlay. The Susana Plaza Shopping Center was identified as an opportunity area and a potential site for redevelopment, as this center has suffered economically due to the loss of its vitality. The mixed-use land use designation provides an opportunity to revitalize the shopping center as well as the Tapo area planning overlay, while providing much-needed rental housing units. The residential density in this district may range from 20.1 to 35 units per acre, and the project provides a density of 20.17 units per acre. This is the approximate area that will be demolished to construct a new mixed-use project. The majority of the northerly portion of the center has been vacant for a few years. The 99-cent store will not renew the lease, but some of the existing stores, like the Oasis Salon, is going to be relocated within the shopping center once it's completed. This is a proposed project over here. The 147,587 square foot shopping center will be partially redeveloped. Approximately about 60,000 square feet of the building will be demolished to allow for the construction of the 307,588 square foot, 4-story, 280 apartment building, in addition to the 4,750 square feet of new commercial space. The mixture of units includes 10 live-work units, which are along Tapo Street and along this way. 42 studios there are in different areas and different floors. 165 one-bedroom units and 63 two-bedroom units. The project, as we mentioned, also includes 14 affordable units for the qualified very low-income residents. The studios are about 500 square feet. The one-bedroom units are about 700 square feet. Two-bedroom units are about 1,100 square feet, and the live-work units are about 1,200 square feet. And to show you a little bit of what's going on over here, here in parcel 1, that's where the Taco Bell project is. Here is the existing gas station that is not part of this project. This is the proposed project, which includes the units surrounding the area. There's an interior parking structure, and this is a driveway that you can actually go through from one side of the shopping center to the other side. They're also going to be modifying the existing median, deleting one driveway. They'll be creating a new driveway, and that existing driveway over here across O'Malley Street will remain as it is for right now. Also point out here are also other access points into the shopping center. This one is more of a close-up, and it's easier to show you some of the amenities. This site plan / floor plan shows some of the amenities that are provided at the ground level. The project consists of basically it's one building, but at ground level is 2 buildings, which are dissected by the access drive that runs north-south through the project, that gives you access to this parking structure. The parking structure is interior to the building and contains 405 parking spaces. There are 23 surface parking spaces provided. The purple areas on the plan show some of the common areas for the residents, such as a fitness center, a club lounge area, game rooms, a mailroom, business center, and they also have some creative office space available. And in addition to that, they also have some green areas, such as a dog run wash area. They also have different courts that have different activities. One has like some game area that you can actually play like bocce ball court, and also you have another area that is more if you want to just kind of walk around and sit and read a book. And this community park over here is actually a privately owned park, but it's open to the public. It's going to have a tot lot area to play around, and this also is could be used with the live work units and the retail, double up as areas where people can gather and also dine and have a place to hang out. Also, the project provides storage and bike lock areas at each level and also trash areas at each level. The type of area planning overlays intent is to provide a downtown feel with pedestrian access activated by the ground floor uses and amenities. This rendering shows the type of street elevation, which includes retail uses downstairs as well as common work areas for the residents and live work units facing Tapua Street. This view also shows the roof terrace that is on the 4th floor. And yes, this 4th floor is being requested as one of the incentives. And the rendering shows how the applicant has provided enough articulation by recessing the units. So technically, the first and second floor are actually on the same vertical level. On the 3rd floor, the units are actually recessed back about 7 feet. And then when you get to the 4th floor, you're set back another 14 feet, and the actual units are further back over here. So technically, from the pedestrian field level, it gives you an appearance of a 3-story versus a 4-story building. As you can see over here as well, the recess, this is basically a 2-story element. The 3rd floor is recessed back, and we have a lot of vertical and horizontal articulation. The south elevation shows how this elevation integrates with the proposed private park. The apartment offices, the leasing offices, can be entered from the entrance on the lower floor. And the 2nd and 3rd floor provide ample articulation by cantilevering the balconies over the 1st floor, thus providing natural shading. In contrast, the 4th floor has been recessed back so as to keep the appearance of a 3-story building again from the pedestrian level. The 4th floor windows are provided with metal awnings for shade and articulation. This rendering gives you a view of the north and east corner looking south. And this also shows you some of the vertical and horizontal articulation that the project is providing throughout this, with flat roofs and hip roofs, metal railings, and so on. The east side elevation has lower roofs, recessed balconies, recessed windows, and about a 10-foot landscaping strip with trees that will help provide privacy for both residents on Workman Avenue and the project's residents. As seen on this elevation, 3-story elements are being kept at the perimeter of the building, with the 4th floor being set back. Both staff and the Planning Commission recommended that the east elevation be further designed and studied. These partial elevations show the articulation and detailing used on the south elevation facing the park and also on Tapua Street, which includes metal awnings, wood trellises, recessed covered balconies, etc. In addition, this drawing shows some of the detailing that is being provided on Tapua Street elevation, such as the curved
patio columns, 4x6 wood beams for trellises, metal awnings, overhangs over 3 feet, as well on the roof eaves and in some other areas, additional trim beam provided, etc. These are the design elements that staff has suggested to be included on the east elevation in order to provide a four-sided architecture per our residential design guidelines. As Mr. Gibson mentioned at the beginning, when the project was first envisioned, it was a market rate project. Once the project's review got on its way, it was determined that by providing affordable units, the project would be able to meet the city regional plan and development code pursuant to the state's bonus density law. While they're not requesting additional density, the law allows them to request incentives and waivers to make the project feasible. The 14 affordable units provided allows the applicant to one incentive and numerous waivers, as long as they do not impose a life or safety hazard. The applicant requested an incentive to allow the 4-story and waivers to allow reduced private open space, storage and bike parking areas, reduce the width of the drive aisle into the parking structure, reduce the size of 37 surplus parking spaces, and relief from the required 200-foot distance from parking space to residents. Both the Planning Commission and the Affordable Housing Subcommittee recommended that the City Council approve the incentive and waivers requested, except that the Planning Commission did request for staff to analyze the waiver for the reduced size of the 37 surplus parking spaces, which is discussed later in this presentation. At the January 19, 2022 Planning Commission hearing, the Commission requested further study on the following items. They want us to look into a shade and shadow analysis of the building to determine if the building will have an impact on potential solar panel installations on the residences to the east. And if you look in your staff report, you see some of the computerized analysis that the applicant provided that show that the proposed project will not have an impact on future installations of solar panels on the residences to the east. Another item that the Commission wanted us to look into was if we could eliminate the waiver requested for the reduced size of the 37 surplus parking spaces. After further analysis, staff determined that technically a waiver is not needed since the 37 parking spaces in questions are surplus parking spaces and not part of the required spaces. Therefore, for this item, staff recommends that this waiver request is eliminated and that the Affordable Housing Agreement and resolution are amended to reflect this change. Also, another item was to provide additional affordable units because both the Planning Commission and the Affordable Housing Subcommittee requested the applicant to analyze if they could provide additional affordable housing units beyond the 14 very low that they're proposing. The applicant has provided a letter, which is Exhibit 3, or page 186 of your packet, and where they explained that providing additional affordable units was not feasible, and explained that their apartments will be, by design, more affordable as they include studios, 1 and 2 bedroom units, which are smaller than some of the units that are provided throughout the city. And lastly, the Commission requested staff to work with the applicant to provide a revised east elevation, which we'll be discussing following. This rendering shows I'm sorry, I'm looking for my calendar. There we go. This elevation shows a partial east elevation, which was originally presented to the Planning Commission. And the Planning Commission was mostly concerned on this part of the building, feeling that some of these walls were partially plain, and it did not have the architectural vocabulary that was used on the tapestry elevation. During the neighborhood council meetings, the residents to the east expressed concerns about balconies located on the southern portion of the east elevation, and this design reflects those concerns. However, the Planning Commission expressed their concern on the design and wanted for the City Council to consider a revised elevation in this part of the building. Since the Planning Commission hearing, staff has been working with the applicant, and the revised elevation is shown here. And subsequently, we added condition A27, which is in your packet, requiring the applicant to continue to work with staff and submit a revised design for the review and approval by the Deputy Environmental Services Director, City Planner. If the council concurs with the design shown on this slide, then condition 827 can be removed. The mitigating negative declaration was prepared and reviewed by the Planning Commission on January 19th, 2022. Subsequent to that meeting, staff received comments from the Ventura County Air Pollution District in regards to the partial demolition of the shopping center. Therefore, condition 8-28 was added to meet this requirement, to meet the requirements of APCD Rule 62.7 should any asbestos are found before the building is demolished. The language was also included in M&D and also included in the monitoring plan. In that way, we cover the comments by the Air Pollution District. The project is considered to be a housing development project. Since it is a mixed-use project, thus it is subject to the Housing Accountability Act. The project also complies with the general plan and zoning regulations as conditioned and with the waivers and incentives requested. And the waivers and incentive requests do not cause a specific adverse impact on health and safety or the physical environment, therefore they're acceptable. The project has been peer reviewed by the Ventura County Fire Department, Public Works Department, and other departments and agencies, and all have found that the project complies with the respective regulations. In addition, an initial study and mitigated negative declaration were prepared, and the project was found that with the mitigations imposed, the project would not have potential would not have a potential for a significant effect on the environment. Therefore, the project is to be approved pursuant to the Housing Accountability Act. The staff, the Planning Commission, and the Affordable Housing Subcommittee recommends approval of the project. And this concludes my presentation. The staff is available here for any questions.
Thank you. Good presentation, and I'll start with the questions. First off, I'd like to thank staff for their work on this, because obviously this is a large project that took an awful lot of work, so thank you for that. And also to the Planning Commission for their work. It looks like they've really dug into this and looked closely at the project, so please pass the thank you on to them when you see them. I have a question. It said, I think your report, you said 405 parking places, and your studies say that's enough, or are you including the potential for people to, after hours, to park in the remaining parking areas of the facility, you know, the retail area?
Well, thank you for that question. Actually, the 405 parking spaces are within the parking structure and are only for the residents' use. The actual required parking spaces for that, for the residential part, is 312 parking spaces. Therefore, they have a surplus of 74 spaces. The rest of the area that is open is open for any of the commercial. And when you combine the existing commercial project plus what they're providing over here, there's also a surplus of parking spaces as well. But the parking structure is only for the residents' use, is going to be gated, and it's not going to be able to be used by anybody else unless they have a a key access to it.
Okay, it may be unlikely, but if we were visiting or something, the other parking, the public parking would still be available?
The surface parking, yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. The other question I have, or a comment, I guess you'd say, is the east elevation. I agree that needs to be worked on from the original. Wonderful articulation on the building, but the back, I think, failed somewhat, and hopefully there's some type of improvement that can be done there. And would you repeat what you said about the 37-car reduction?
Yes. So let me, if you don't mind, let me go down to this, okay. So basically, what it is that the regular parking spaces sizes are 9 feet by 18 feet. They're gonna have 37 parking spaces that are gonna be 9 feet wide by 15 feet long. And they basically have, in all 4 levels, they have some of these spaces. But these are surplus spaces because we have 74 extra. So therefore, we don't need to regulate the size of these ones. What, in retrospect, in looking at the code and looking at other cities as how they handle, this kind of size of parking spaces, the 15 feet long parking space is not uncommon to find in some other jurisdictions. And because these are surplus spaces, we decided that they could actually be of any size because they're not part of the required spaces. So therefore, there's no need for a waiver. So we suggest that it's best to delete the waiver, and we can adjust the housing agreement and the resolution to reflect that. At the beginning, we thought that maybe we needed it, but after more review, we decided that technically it's not needed, unless Mr. Gibson wants to clarify anything else on that.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. Good. Would you show the view of the entire project, the entire property? There's a south exit from the parking lot. Down at the bottom right, says driveway. And it says to remain, and you said for now, I think is the way you said it. Is there a reason? My experience has been that's a very substandard, I don't want to say dangerous, but certainly not what you would expect in a project like this.
Yes, the Public Works has a condition to provide the apron for the disabled access, but maybe the applicant can actually answer what the plans are for this area of the property and that particular driveway. But yes, we understand your concern.
Okay, then we'll wait until it's their turn to come up and the others have had a chance, but I appreciate, and if the applicant would recognize that I'll be asking that question about that. I'll just call it a substandard entryway to a beautiful property. I'm having a hard time with that. Okay, that's the end of my question. Thanks so much. Mayor Pro Tem Litzler.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the presentation. I do have just a few questions, and I'll just dive right into them. First, I'd like to discuss the 14 low income that are basically 5% of the 280 units, which is how they get their concessions, which I understand. What I'm not clear of is I understand that so for the 14 units make 5%, and so basically they get the waivers and et cetera, and I understand all of that. But my question is, as I look at how they're being applied to the RENA numbers, 14 are very low, and then basically the rest are being now assigned to the above moderate income units. I think 77, which is what was left, and so they basically said, well, we'll take all the rest of the above moderate income levels. Knowing that these are, as you mentioned, 42 studios, 165 one-bedrooms, I mean, so these are smaller. I mean, they're not your 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, et cetera. I guess my question is, why are all the rest considered above moderate income units? Why could they not be some assigned to moderate, for instance? Is that because they only have to be, I don't know, restricted to fulfill moderate levels? Am I making sense with my question?
Yes, I think I understand your question, and it's an excellent question, actually, and probably the applicant can explain as to their economics of the feasibility of the additional units. Technically, there's affordability levels. One is like very low,
Sure.
low, moderate, and above moderate, and that's where it stands. And if you are within those, and they respond to median income and so on and so forth. If you are within any of those 4 categories, then you have restrictions like the 55-year restrictions and so on and so forth. So technically, the applicant is committing to the 14 units very low, which is actually good for our arena numbers. But the the rest of the units are market rate, so they're not restricted by any of the.
So, and that, I guess that's my question. So if they are market rate, then they cannot apply ever to the moderate income or anything else. It has to be above moderate. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, okay, that's what I wanted to make very clear. Because they talk about, the applicant talks about how they're affordable by design, but because they're market rate, they cannot count towards those moderate levels. Okay.
And actually, that's a really good question. I think the applicant, they submitted a letter, but maybe they can expand onto what they mean by that. They did tell us that it was by design because they're smaller units.
Right.
But then again, maybe when they speak, they can actually address your question as well.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you. Let me just go to dovetail onto some of the mayor's questions about parking. Well, there was just a little bit of discrepancy in the reports as I read it. For instance, when you read the traffic report, this was page 535 of the report, it says the proposed parking supply of 917 spaces is deficient by 42 spaces and therefore does not meet the city's zoning ordinance requirement for the project. Of course, they included things such as the number needed for guests, et cetera. That was in the traffic report. The report that you gave basically is suggesting that they are in excess or surplus. And so I'm just trying to understand the discrepancy between that traffic report and your report.
Yes, great question. Thank you. So the traffic report was done early on in the process, and like we mentioned, this started as a market rate project. Once the project becomes affordable, then the parking is based on state requirements, which is less than what the code or municipal code requirements are. So that's why the staff report makes reference that there's surplus parking spaces, because it's based on state law. Parking spaces require. And also the traffic study does some assumptions, of additional movements. And if anything, Mr. Ron, if there's any additional questions, maybe Polyworth can answer to that.
Okay, but really you're saying it's because the state, you're saying basically that they're now in excess because the state has
lesser requirements, yes.
has lesser requirements than our own
Yes.
code. Okay. Some of what they do is tandem parking. How many, and tandem, as I understand it, is one in front of the other, and I personally hate that because you don't want to get blocked in. You know about all that. How many of these spaces are tandem parked?
I'll probably have to look up my table really quick to see how many there are. They are actually restricted to be serving just the same unit. They cannot be one space for one unit and the other one for the other one.
Okay.
So,
And that was my follow-up. So basically, every space will be assigned to a specific apartment. Is that correct?
That's potentially, that's what the applicant will do, but for the tandem spaces, they have to be assigned because, like I said, they cannot have different apartment units. And the tandem parking is also only allowed because of the affordable component, because the state law allows it.
Interesting. Okay, gotcha. So so then, are all of these spots assigned? Is everyone? I noticed that was one of the requirements in the report, but then it wasn't clear to me with their waiver. Are these actually assigned to each apartment?
So
I understand they want to be on 200 feet, but I just wondered, are they actually assigned?
So let me go back really quick to the waivers, because since tandem parking is allowed under the state, that's not a waiver. Okay. So we had a condition to assign the tandem spaces just to make sure that you don't have two different different units sharing the tandem, and you have to go knock on the door and so they can move the car.
Sure.
So the waivers that they're requesting are the reduced private open space, the reduced storage area, the bike storage, the drive aisle. We discussed the 37 spaces that we're suggesting to delete that. And then the only other is a relief of the 200 feet distance between the parking space and the unit.
So even though they have relief, they still have to have assigned spots if it's 250 feet, 350 feet.
Let me ask you a question. I think what I heard her say was that only the tandem ones had to be, and I understand what you're asking, but I'm not sure.
Well, I guess the reason I ask, page 65, let's make it the right page in the report. What does it specifically say? I'm sorry, one of the requirements, and maybe I didn't write the page number down, said that they had to be specifically assigned. And so I was just.
When you say that, are you saying all spaces have to be?
Every apartment has to have it. As I read it, and that's why I was just trying to understand, said that, in other words, if you lived in an apartment 210, this is the space for 210. And so I was just trying, is it open parking, or is it, if so, then the report needs to be changed. Somewhere in there it required it. That's why I was
I
asking.
think it might be a good question for the applicant when he comes up.
Okay, because one of our, and I've got to find the page again then. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. A couple more questions, and then I know others have questions. Let me talk to you about the calculation of the density. So I understand that density is calculated based upon the contiguous parcels 2 and 3, and that's how you get a density of 20.1 units per acre. If it was calculated solely upon parcel 2, the density would be 52.53 units per acre. So obviously, I understand state law allows the contiguous area to get that calculation, so it meets our requirement of 20 to 35 units per acre. So I understand that. My question then becomes, parcel 3, now which is commercial, later on, does that restrict them? Let's say the developer comes back and says, you know, I'd like to put another 100 units over here on this end, over by the Rock and Roll Cafe or something. Are they restricted so that the entire area is confined to that 20.1 to 35 per acre? Am I making sense of the question?
Yes, it makes total sense, and thank you for the question. You're correct, we combined the two parcels, and the planning commission had the same concern, so we have condition A-26 that actually addresses the density. Now, if you recall, this project meets, now with the properties combined, meets the minimum.
Right. Right.
So I've done the math myself. They could actually go to 50 units per acre with affordable. I've done the math myself, and if you were to have a project on parcel 3, it's not going to affect, and it's not going to go over. But nevertheless, we have the condition A-26 that actually addresses your concern on the density that is going to be accounted for when the next project comes across.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that understanding. That's it for now. I'll let others ask questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
Councilmember Luevanos.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one question for staff, and the rest of my questions are for the developer. I saw that one of the waivers is that the drive aisle can be less. Is that correct? Can be minimized? And this is the drive aisle that you're talking about that goes through the building, right? That goes from, hold on, I get to use laser pointer. How exciting.
Yes, right here.
Okay, that goes from here to here. So this is the drive aisle that they're asking, or this one? Which one?
So these two aisles are, this one is 11 foot 6 inches instead of 12 feet, and this aisle is 11 feet 6 inches instead of 12 feet. But in the center, they have like a divider area, and if you can see, there's like a little box right here. That's where your key card is. So we felt that that was enough room to allow, since it's one way, it's enough room to allow passage of cars either way. And we're talking only technically of a 6-inch difference, and it's actually only happening at a certain points. This is more on this side, but it's only happening in a short area versus somewhere else. Once you pass the car key, then you have regular passageways.
I'm assuming this is my question. Is that large enough for emergency vehicles to get through?
Yeah, well, actually, when you have in a driveway, in some places it's down even to 9 feet.
Okay.
So 11.6 is enough. Yeah.
So that's the only place that's a reduction, but not here, not this drive.
Yeah, correct. Going this way, there's no issues. It's only here that we have the concern.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you very much.
And that was approved by the fire department?
Yes, actually, let me go back to this plan. So the fire department, their access ways are here on top of the street and here on the alleyway. That's where they're gonna, if they have to bring the big ladder, that's what they're gonna go through.
Mhm.
The fire department, the large ladders are not gonna enter the parking structure. They're gonna actually access the building through here and here.
Okay, thank you. The applicant, your turn. And I want to let the public know you're next after the applicant. We do want to hear what you have to say. So it's coming up. So at this time, the applicant.
If you can give me 1 second, because I have to upload his PowerPoint really quick.
Sure.
Oops.
Nice to be tall.
Thank you.
All right.
Can everybody see that?
All right. Well, good evening, Mayor and council members. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you, Ms. Pedroso, and thank you to all the staff who've been working on this project for years now. It's exciting to be here. My name is Colby Young. I am the Vice President of Asset Management for Garrity Group. And I'm excited to share our vision for a reimagined Santa Susana Plaza tonight. I'll be giving you a brief presentation, and then afterwards, I am happy to answer any questions you have. I'm joined this evening by our project team, both in person and virtually. We have our architect, Newman Garrison Partners, civil engineer, Jensen Design, landscape architect, CMG, traffic engineer, ATE, acoustic engineer, Meridian, our communications team, EKA and Urban Strategies, and our land use council, Procopio. I'll start off with just a little bit about Garrity Group. We've been a part of the Simi Valley community now for over 8 years. We're a Southern California-based company, and we specialize in owning and operating neighborhood and community retail properties. And a little bit about the property. Ms. Pedroso did a great job kind of summarizing what's existing, so I don't want to belabor that too much, but it's a roughly 150,000 square foot shopping center anchored by a Walmart neighborhood grocery store. We've been exploring mixed use on this site for many years. The evolution of retail is kind of what led us to begin exploring revitalizing the property with mixed use. And the pandemic really fast forwarded the evolution that had been in process for years prior. So our goal now is our continued goal is to create a more healthy, vibrant, dynamic retail experience for our shoppers, retailers, and future residents. So a little more about the project. It's a very high quality project that I believe is really going to set the new standard for future projects in Simi Valley. Being highly amenitized with a number of the things Ms. Pedroso mentioned, and we have listed up here, it really will kind of raise the bar for any future projects to be developed here. It has a number of amenities that just aren't offered anywhere else, and we're excited to deliver these, whether it's from the rooftop lounge, the resort-style pool, creative office space, dog run, dog wash, Uber and Lyft dedicated pickup stations, excess secured parking, and a number of other amenities we have listed here. But I think it's worth kind of emphasizing just how unique this project is and how much it has evolved to be in position to deliver all these different amenities. And this rendering, I really enjoy this. I think it does a couple things. One, it really shows the quality of the architecture and design. And two, it's a visual representation of how we have incorporated all the feedback received over the years into the project. So, priority being it's a local solution to a housing shortage, meaning we have collaborated with the community and with staff to design and create a project that really meets the needs of the local community. We learned early on, and it was made very clear that affordability is a concern and is something that should be included in the project. So, taking that to heart, we designed the entire project to be affordable by design, as was briefly explained. And what that is, it's really thinking creatively and efficiently about the design of the project that allows us to build a new construction, highly amenitized, but still charge below market rents on what we're seeing today. So it's uniquely positioned to meet the needs of the existing workforce and the growing workforce. In addition, we did agree or signed the affordable housing agreement to include very low income units as defined by the state. I think it's worth noting that it's not common to include that level of affordability, but seeing the needs and the RENA numbers that the city has to meet, by offering that, we think we're really helping to meet the needs of meet the housing needs of the community. We even found ways over time to increase the number of very low income units. We started with 12, and then through some creative redesign and stressing the economics, we were able to increase that to 13, and then later to 14 units to get to the project that we have in front of us today. And then on the design side, I think architecturally, the tiered architecture, the step back, though we're allowed to have 4 stories, we intentionally pushed the higher stories back so it doesn't have that imposing feel on Tapo Street. There was a lot of collaboration and redesign on the eastern portion of the building. There were concerns about privacy for our neighbors on Workman Avenue, so we totally reconfigured and reoriented units back there to mitigate those concerns and kind of improve the landscaping plan to ensure that the trees back there are actually going to be tall enough, up to 45 feet, to really maximize or address any visibility or privacy concerns. Other things we have included here, we've undergrounded the power lines just for a more aesthetic experience, and added a kind of an intense or high quality level of landscape throughout the project to kind of really maximize the experience for residents, shoppers, guests, and retailers. So here's a view of the entire site. What stands out here, what I want to emphasize, is the amount of green that kind of pops out here in the project. We've taken existing asphalt and underutilized commercial space and improved it, reimagined it to add about 50,000 square feet of new, healthy, green, active open space that doesn't exist today. A portion of that is the half-acre park that's in front, which I think functions as a great transition from the mixed use to the retail. I think it's going to be amenity for not just the residents, but also for shoppers, the community, and our retailers to either spend time, host events, or just be outdoors and kind of enjoy the experience. The project in and of itself is a very sustainable type of project, meaning we're taking existing developed land with existing infrastructure and improving or raising the quality of what's there. So kind of providing the highest and best use based on the needs of the community. So the fact that we can take existing asphalt and turn it into 50,000 square feet of new green space and help meet the housing demands and provide a well-designed, high-quality architecture is a kind of a win-win-win. I think it's also worth noting we're also improving the traffic impact. So by replacing a high impact use like retail with a less impactful use like residential, we're actually lowering the traffic impact overall for the site. Additionally, we're mitigating any parking concerns by oversizing the garage to ensure that residents and their guests all park in the garage and there is no overflow to the retailers. That's important for us. I mean, as owners and operators of retail, the last thing we'd want to do is negatively impact our businesses and our tenants. And I think it's also worth just kind of describing in a little bit more detail the design of the garage. You'll notice the gray there is the garage itself 4 levels high, but it's wrapped in units. So nowhere from the street view can you see the garage. It's all you see is the high quality, high design architecture. So it's hidden, but it's still large enough to function and to meet the needs of all our residents and their guests. So I don't believe this exists in town, but I think it's a great solution, and it serves the residential above and beyond, and it leaves more than enough retail parking to ensure that our tenants have all the spaces they need. So speaking of which, here's a perspective showing the tenants, kind of highlighting the retail portion to remain. Our plan here, our goal is to create an environment that's healthy and relevant for the future of retail. So with the addition of mixed use, it kind of activates the sites. It activates the site. It supports the businesses, and it kind of generates more and more activity around there. So our businesses thrive. Our residents will benefit from the convenience of having a grocery store on site. And the property overall will continue to meet the shopping needs of our neighbors and the community. So this is another view of the zoning overlay, as was shown earlier. And the purpose of this slide is really to emphasize or point out that what we have designed and presented tonight is consistent with the existing code. We're not asking for an amendment to a general plan. We're not asking to go outside of what's already envisioned or planned for the area. More specifically, we're really actualizing the Tapo Street corridor vision. We're energizing Tapo Street. Part of the goals or objectives for the overlay is to take existing underutilized commercial land and convert it to a use to meet the needs of the market today. And the needs of the market today is for more housing. Simi Valley's done an amazing job of creating and ensuring the availability of more jobs locally. I know that there's currently close to 1 million square feet under construction of new industrial, and all of that comes with a lot of new jobs and new residents, and this project is perfectly positioned to meet the needs of those workers in the new industrial projects, especially being affordable by design. That's kind of the market that we're targeting and think is going to be our tenant someday. So since the beginning, we've been committed to our community outreach. It has kind of been at the core of what we've done since day one. We've been very open and hungry and eager to solicit feedback. We've been very engaged with both the neighbors and the broader community. We held a number of informational Zooms. We held some in-person meetings with the neighbors to address some concerns. We had 2 neighborhood council meetings, planning commission. But the point is, we have always been very open and available and willing to take feedback and then constructively use it to improve the project, to ensure we're meeting the needs and concerns of anyone who's sharing feedback with us. An example of this is kind of the visual here. This is an example of a mailer we sent out. And to ensure ease of access and maximum participation, we included a QR code. So you simply snap the QR code and you're registered for the Zoom, and you're reminded when the meeting is. So we want to make sure that we're really reaching out and genuinely trying to get as much feedback as possible to make sure the project is appropriate and meets the needs of the community. All right, so I'll start wrapping up here in a little bit. But this is a view from the park and the plaza. It kind of just shows the potential to help activate the neighborhood, activate the property, and gives you a sense of what it could look like during an event over one of the weekends. But I'll kind of wrap up with saying just how excited we are about the project and how far it's evolved and where it stands today. And we genuinely believe this will be a catalyst to revitalize the whole Taplow Street corridor. And we're excited to be a part of that change. I think it's going to be a great new chapter for Simi Valley and for Santa Susana Plaza. So with that, I'll end my presentation, and I am excited to answer any questions you have. And if anything I can't answer, we brought the team.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for the presentation, and don't go away. We have questions. We'll start with Councilmember Lou Evanos.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, I have a set of questions here. Okay. So the first one is this actually what we will get? We know that we have a lot of developers that come and then they sell the rights. They get the rights and then they sell them to someone else. So are you actually going to be building? Is this actually, is what we see here, is this what we're actually going to get, or is there a switcheroo coming? I'm just curious.
Yes, this is the project, the plan, what we fully intend to provide. With the approval tonight, we are getting a head start on construction documents.
Okay, so you guys are the ones that are going to be building this?
Correct.
Okay, because that's what we always get residents who ask. We see this beautiful presentation and then, someone else built it, so we want to make sure. Sure. I'm just asking. And
I think it's worth noting, I think we are uniquely positioned to ensure we deliver a high-quality project because as the owner-operator of the retail portion and the owner-operator of the mixed-use portion, we need that collaboration. We need this project to function holistically, not as two separate projects, but as one property, one thoughtfully well-designed operating property. So if that gives you comfort, I think
yes, it does.
Shows
Thank you.
how important it is for
Yes,
us to
it
do
does.
this right.
Here's my next question. I know that you talked about reduced bike storage. So how much bike storage will there actually be?
We have 170, I need to double check that.
172.
172? Thank you.
Does that include, like I saw in the renderings, you had bike racks like in that public park space area, or are those extra?
Those are extra. So we have dedicated private storage and bike parking in the property. On the site, the kind of the public realm, we'll have additional multimodal storage, so bike storage, skateboard storage, scooter, a number of different options, along the common area and public space.
Okay, and I'm asking because I foresee this as a place where, people will want to go and hang out. I mean, we have a lot of bikers in Simi Valley. It's very popular. People like to mountain bike here and bike on the streets. So I see this as a place, and I just want to know, will there be bike racks there for people who go visit?
Absolutely. I'm
Okay,
excited
wonderful.
to see them show up. So we'll make sure there's enough bike parking.
Okay, my other question is I'm going to be tougher on you, is, you said in the staff report, it says that adding more affordable units is not feasible because a project is affordable by design. And I do very much appreciate that you were putting very low income because that's not something that we see very often. But I'm just curious, it says here units will be more affordable than other apartments in the city. But typically newer units aren't always more affordable than older units in the city because although it does force older units to kind of re-up, right? Because everyone says, oh, look at these brand new shiny apartments, look at all the amenities. And to that extent, I thank you for having all these amenities and have these be high quality because it does force competition, right, with the other apartment complexes. Like, well, what are you going to give me if I'm going to pay this much in rent?
Right.
So what do you mean by, can you just explain what you mean by not feasible? I know you say the project is affordable by design, but a lot of the new jobs that we have created in the city, are minimum wage jobs. They pay $15, $18 an hour, so they might be making, $2,400 a month. They wouldn't even be able to afford the two-bedroom. So do you mean, what does not feasible mean? That's my question to you.
So the project being affordable by design means it is targeted and rent is set at a number that is achievable and feasible by majority of the workforce in Simi Valley. In terms of the restricted units, the 14 very low income units, that was a function of really kind of stressing and stretching the economics to make it work. And so to go from 12 and later on redesign, and then 13 and later on redesign, and then 14, that really kind of maxed out the capacity to include additional restricted units. But we felt that the fact that the whole project, the market rate portion, being affordable by design, being targeted to meet the needs of the existing workforce, is the biggest benefit. I mean, it's not setting a price that's not achievable by 90% of the community. It's targeted for the core of the community. And so that's why we feel this is such a special project to genuinely meet the needs of the community.
If you can, and I don't know if you can or you can't, or if you have these details or who has the details, do you know of those 14 units, those affordable units, are they distributed evenly between studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom?
They're distributed evenly throughout the property.
Okay.
They're majority 1-bedrooms. There's a breakdown of the table. I believe it's...
I know it's in the report, I just want the public to know. So, okay, I just wanted to know, because I had people asking me, I know not everyone's going to read the 500-page report, but I wanted them to know that it's not just all studios like it is.
No, it's not all studios. It's majority 1s and 2s.
Okay, wonderful. And, I want to thank you for the wraparound parking. We had someone come to the Ventura Council of Governments just a few months ago talking about this kind of mixed-use project is exactly what revitalized portions of the San Fernando Valley that I drive through every day to go to work, like many of our residents do. And this is the kind of project that really will add to the corridor, and like you said, support the businesses in that area, and maybe even incentivize other shopping centers along this corridor to also revitalize. So part of this is also revitalization of the other businesses of Parcel 3 as well, or no?
Yes, that's not up on tonight's topic, but our intent is to make sure we do have a cohesive, well-designed, improved property. So we do intend to improve the retail portion to match the quality of the mixed use.
Okay, and I see the trees, and I know they're in the picture, but in the future, that would be something that would be included as well.
Yes, if you go back to the landscape plan on slide
I'm talking about the
4.
retail side now.
Oh, the retail side.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I misunderstood.
Where the AutoZone and Joann's and Walmart is. Yes, okay, yeah, I see trees in there in the parking space. And because it's right now just a large swath of dark pavement that it's a heat, source, especially in the summertime when it gets those heat waves. So the trees would really add to reduction of heat in that area.
True.
My other question is, they mentioned that one of the businesses would relocate, Oasis Salon. So are all these businesses that are listed here, they will all still be included in either the new use or the old use, is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, everyone listed here on the bottom will continue to operate at the property.
So I can still get my Papa John's pizza and go for breakfast at Tio's, yes?
As long as they want to be at the property, we're happy to have them.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
I want to add one note, though, on your landscape comment. As part of the project approvals, we are agreeing to take over the maintenance portion of the landscape that the city currently maintains along Tapo Street. So we are taking on that additional obligation and expense.
Wow, thank you. That so rarely happens.
I think it's worth noting.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this
You're welcome.
project.
Thanks for the questions.
Thank you. I wanted to start out with, earlier I said I did not have any ex parte communication. And when he mentioned urban strategies, I went, oh, yes, I did talk to you too. So I wanted to make sure I was upfront with that. I would also, like the mayor said earlier, keep A27 in, which is the east design. But again, like with the trees, I think just a little bit. And I know you're going to work with, I believe, the planning department on that, to put a little bit in on that east side. But if those trees are going to come up to 45 feet, but it's going to take them a while to get there. So.
Right, we are installing, so we selected a tree species that when we plant it, it's going to be over 20 feet tall to begin with, and it's a fast-growing tree, so I think it's up to 2 feet a year. So it quickly gets up to 45 feet.
What is the elevation of that? So that's a we're going to see the 3-story straight out because the 4-story is set back. So is that what, 35, 36 feet? About? I mean, okay. So it's going to cover more than half, probably starting right away.
Correct.
Okay, or at least half.
It is. And it's planted all the way along the eastern boundary.
Okay, perfect. That kind of explains that to me. I am happy you're varying the size and locations of the 14 affordable housings. That's really nice. When I was first divorced, I had to go into affordable housing, you know, and so it was nice to be able to be somewhere within the complex where it wasn't, those are the affordable and those are the market rate. So it's very nice to mix in that way. So that's, I just want to compliment you on that. The reduced parking spots, the lengthwise, are they going to be labeled as compact or do they have to be? I was just curious. I know in my parking lot at work, we have ones that are marked compact. Oh, is that Sean's
Mr.
question?
Gibson
Sorry.
might have a
Compact
comment.
are normally narrower spaces.
Okay.
These are shorter.
Okay, so they don't have to be.
They don't need to be.
They don't. Yeah, they
I
don't
won't
need to
fit
be.
in it, but
Oh,
you
yeah,
probably
because
would.
I was going to say an average sedan will probably fit in
Yes.
it without a,
Yeah.
monster trucks won't. Okay. And then, easy question. The 4th floor of the parking, is that going to be covered also, or will that be open?
It'll have kind of like carports, like solar carports.
Okay. Because the first 3 floors are going to have nice covered parking. So I was just curious about that. And, what you made a comment about that you are going to be, Garrity, I'm assuming, is going to be the retail operator of the retail in the new development and the existing. Who's going to manage the apartment complex and or own it?
We will.
Oh, you're still going to do that? So you're going to
Yes.
be the property managers for that also?
Correct.
Perfect. That's
Yeah,
the right, that's
we-
the
we
answer I wanted.
We can ensure everything
Okay. All
functions, together.
right, thank you. That was my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your presentation. Appreciate it. Let me first ask you about, you were mentioning that you're being responsible for the light fixtures, et cetera, on the, or the, not the median, but well, let me back it up. You've got the facing on the sidewalk and that responsibility for that. Are you also responsible, did I understand, for the median down Tapple Street or not? Is that? I just want to make sure I understand what you're. No. I'm just.
Not maintenance of the median, but there are median improvements. That was part of one of Ms. Pedroso's slides.
That's what I thought. Okay. Well, and I guess my question, this may not be for you, but I noticed there's some broken light fixtures as I drove down Tapple Street. Who's responsible for that?
That would be us. So
Okay.
we can address those.
Okay. I'm not putting them on you now. I just. Okay.
Wait a little bit, they may be his.
Okay. Well, that's
Garrity has complained.
I do know, so they're being switched to LED or something. I believe that's part of the requirement, if I'm not mistaken. But okay, let me ask you about the parking itself, the parking structure. First of all, what is the clearance for drive-through? I mean, will the height clearance, do we know by any chance? Will his truck fit or not, is what I'm really
The minimum requirement for ceiling height is 8'6", if I'm correct, and I think I checked that with Kevin.
We'll beat the minimum. We have, it's 9 feet of clearance.
Okay. And does that,
Is that enough?
you'll fit? Okay.
No.
I guess maybe my question is, and maybe we need to see, well, actually, I get to use my pointer too, if that's right. I'll try not to blind you, Councilmember Levinos. We'll see if it even works, if my battery's, okay. Here's my question. You notice, obviously, the parking structure's here. I wondered about those who live here. If I lived here, I would want to park right here. To be honest, just because it seems closer, more convenient, and I'm guessing there's stairs or an elevator or something. I guess my question, is there something that's going to preclude residents who maybe don't live right by the parking structure from parking in the commercial space?
That's something that we will want to manage, and that's on us, and that is a benefit to the retail and the residents. So through self-management, we want to ensure that the residents park in the structure. It's actually an amenity. There's a couple amenities. One, it's secured. It's a secured parking structure, so gated access. But I think more convenient, to answer your first, or address your first comment, no matter what level you live on, your parking spot is going to be on that level. So you'll have easy, quick access.
So you don't have to climb those stairs.
Not going up and down stairs,
I'm
exactly.
just thinking, yeah, okay. 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 Where is, and I believe, have you designated guest parking? And maybe I just want to understand, is that in the structure, or is all guest parking going to be in the commercial area?
It'll be in the structure.
In the structure. And so is there, how do they gain access? Because I understand it's secure. Is that anyone who
It
goes
is
in?
secure.
So they would have to ring their buddy or their friend saying, I'm here, please let me in.
Yeah, they can, something like that. There's also the parking spaces along the drive aisle there. Those are outside of the gate.
Gotcha.
So you see where it says proposed mixed use?
Right.
Yes, right there.
Okay. And so access into the parking structure predominantly will come off of Cochrane, is that correct? Unless they come from Chapel Street and...
I anticipate most will come off of Cochrane, correct?
Okay, fair enough. Let me just quickly ask a question about your biking storage, which was 172, I think. Is that going to be assigned? I mean, how is that assigned? You have 280 units. How does that get assigned? Is that going to be an additional fee?
For anyone interested, we would assign a space for anyone who would want it.
And would they be charged an additional fee if they wanted storage? Is that likely?
It's possible. I mean, we haven't really factored that in.
Okay. I just know in the past we've had trouble if they were charging for parking, but is that ever an issue?
Not on parking, it probably won't be, or on bicycles. I would assume it'd be a first come, first serve.
Okay, but adding a fee is not a problem in our code. Okay, fair enough.
Not yet.
Not yet? Actually, I think that's great. I think those are my questions. I appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
Okay, my turn. Do you remember my question?
About the drive aisle, I do. And I remember it the first time also.
Yeah, that's right. Way back when, I go, there's a problem there.
And since then we have explored how we can address that. So we have some ideas, and I think we can readdress it again now that the project is much closer, and incorporate the changes to make that a much easier access.
Okay, but you didn't say you will do it. No, but it's in fact, Elaine, didn't you drive that?
I did go over there and drive it and look at it because you had mentioned it. Yeah.
And
it's usable. I mean,
well, yeah, it's been there for a long time.
I totally agree that it needs to be improved. The existing condition is challenging, and so.
Okay, and I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, wow, there's a lot of money being spent here, but not in that drive. Maybe I'm just not a good shot, and I hit that curb every time.
No,
But
you
anyway,
can tell from the marks that you're not the only one.
that's accurate.
The only other thing, we talked about, you're the builder, owner, developer, and the whole time I was thinking in my mind, and is it for sale yet? But typically, does your company maintain these types of developments and move forward?
Yes, we'll build and continue to operate.
I know things change, so
Yes,
I'm not holding you to that, but just the intention right now.
The intention is to build and operate, yeah.
Okay. That's, would you care to comment? You had, I saw in there, where you had meetings with the public, the nearby residents. Can you describe how those meetings went in general form? I'm not asking for particulars.
Sure. The first one was a Zoom meeting, and I think the general concern came from our neighbors on Workman Avenue. So, there was concern about people looking in their backyards, loss of privacy, concern about view obstruction. So those are probably some of our most informative community meetings. I mean, that was our first big aggregation of feedback from residents. And so, we held a second Zoom where we had addressed a lot of those concerns and kind of shared the changes. And I think it addressed a lot of concerns, and so it kind of reduced the amount of feedback we were getting. And then subsequently, I scheduled an in-person meeting where we took one of the vacant suites, opened it up, invited all the neighbors on Workman Avenue to come in person and ask their questions. And it was just an open room where we just had water available, and we just had a conversation. I stood there and kind of shared the project again, what had changed, what had evolved, listened to all their questions, and then taking that, continue to make changes, and the project continue to evolve. I would hope that some of the neighbors are on the call tonight and can kind of share some of their experience as well. But I believe they are really productive meetings and kind of led to the quality project we have today that I think mitigates a lot of the concerns that were there at the beginning.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's the end of my questions. Councilmember Levinos, you have more?
I have one more question, Mayor, if
Okay,
I may.
that's fine.
I saw you have EV charging stations. Will they be on each level of the parking?
I think, we haven't thought about the whole layout, but typically you want to consolidate them for infrastructure reasons, but I think they could be, spread out.
If at all possible, because well, the beauty of this project is that you can park on the level which you live, so you don't have to, go up and down the stairs. That's why I was like, oh, this would be great for, people in wheelchairs, or people with physical disabilities, or people who just have arthritis or whatever. And that was one of the things that I loved about this. But I was thinking about the EV charging stations, and I'm like, well, gosh, if you have, a bolt or, something you have to plug in, then is that all gonna be in one place? But I just asked that to be a consideration.
No, it's a great comment. I think we can find a way to make that work and make it convenient for the residents.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I think we're done with you for now. Don't go away, though.
All right, I won't go far.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
This time we'll public comments.
Mr. Mayor, we have no speaker cards for in-person. We'll check with Zoom.
We do have 5 attendees that have their hands raised to speak. We can start with John Dautremont. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm John Dautremont, and I live on Workman Avenue, and I have met many times with Mr. Young with a lot of concerns about privacy. And I'm just calling to thank him very much for all of his, listening to us, because we, as a group of people who own homes here, we were very much afraid that our property value was going to drop, having a 4-story behemoth over us. But they listened to us. They did the setback. They're putting in the tall trees to protect our privacy. They and he especially has met all of our expectations, and every problem that we had foreseen, they have solved them. So I wanted to thank them publicly for speaking with us and hopefully producing a wonderful project. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Pedro Morales. Mr. Morales, you can unmute yourself.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, fellow residents, and applicant. My name is Pedro Morales. I'm a carpenter with Local 805 Camarillo. My Southwest Carpenters Union represents nearly 60,000 professional carpenters who have remained essential through these difficult times. We keep a strong interest in well-ordered land use planning, and we address the environmental impacts of new development projects. Currently, there are many construction projects happening throughout the county, and few provide work for our 1,900 brothers and sisters from Local 805. The community benefits from local carpenters because we are hired locally. Our earned income have a positive economic impact. Area standards for carpenters also reduce a burden on the local health system because of the medical benefits earned. We live, shop, and recreate in the vicinity of these proposed projects. We ask the applicant to provide additional community benefits such as requiring local hire and use of a skilled and trained workforce to build the project. We ask for the use of workers who have graduated from a joint labor management apprenticeship training program approved by the state of California. There are blue-collar economic drive. We ask to provide local career opportunities for transitioning veterans, assisted justice involved individuals, and to aid underrepresented residents as well. Our apprenticeship opportunities only work when developers, contractors, and subcontractors are partnered with the community. Community benefits such as local hire and skilled and trained workforce requirements can also be helpful to reduce environmental impacts, improve the positive economic impacts of the project. Local hire provisions require that a certain percentage of workers reside within 10 miles or less of the project site, can reduce the length of vendor trips, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and providing localized economic benefits. Residents from the city of Simi Valley should not be the last in line to get hired for a local construction project. Even if the contractors come from out of town, they should still hire many of the hungry, hopeful, and deserving locals looking to join the trades. As an experienced builder, I ask that you build an attractive, charming, and comfortable housing project that helps answering housing needs, but that also keep in mind the employment needs of our locals. We're local people, hardworking local people. We want good housing and we want to build them. We strongly urge you to deny this project until worker protections, community benefits, and area standards for Carpenter Craft Works are met. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Patty. Patty, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you so much. Good evening, Chair, Commissioners, and fellow residents. My name is Patty McCarran, and I'm a carpenter with Local 805. As a second-generation union carpenter, I urge you to require the use of local, skilled, and trained workforce to benefit the community's economic development and environment. I compel you to require the use of workers who have graduated from a joint labor management apprenticeship program, training program approved by the state of California. The Carpenter's Apprenticeship Program provides women like me with the ability to have high-paying jobs with on-the-job training through the Sisters in the Brotherhood program. There's also a program that the previous caller just mentioned for veterans, as well as a variety of other opportunities for many groups, as well as the traditional program for apprentices. Let's see, utilizing a local hire, skilled and trained workforce requirement reduces construction-related environmental impacts while benefiting the local economy. A local hire requirement will allow people like me to work in our own city without having to travel long distances to get to our jobs. It will allow us to spend money in our community, as well to keep the money in our community, as well as participate in community events, including attending our children's baseball and soccer games. It will reduce wear and tear on our freeways and reduce traffic congestion, as well as provide pride in our community, knowing that local people built these projects, this particular project. It is imperative that skilled labor be considered an investment in growing and diversifying California's workforce to positively stimulate the local economy. This is so important for the city of Simi Valley. To think of us as an investment. You know, we live in the community, we work in the community, we'd like to work in the community, and you know, you represent us, so please, you know, add this to your agreements. I think that you'd all agree, we want our money to stay in our community. Skilled labor should not, oh, okay, I already said that. Skilled labor should not be considered a cost, but rather an investment in growing, diversifying, and upskilling our workforce to positively stimulate our economy. We're local people, hardworking local people. We want attractive, charming, and well-built housing projects, and we want to build them. I strongly urge you to deny this project until worker protections, community benefits, and area standards for carpenter craft workers are met. I'll go one step further and ask that you follow cities across California and adopt a skilled and trained workforce requirement into your general plan and municipal codes to boost economic development. I appreciate your time and listening. So thank you so much and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Our next speaker this evening is Armando Delgado. Mr. Delgado, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, and fellow Simi Valley residents. My name is Armando Delgado, and I am one of many working, tax-paying, and voting families of this county. As a lifelong resident of Ventura County, I've moved around quite a bit throughout the area. I've lived in a compact garage, shared a 2-bedroom apartment with my family of 7, stayed in a townhome, rental homes, and thank goodness I am now a proud homeowner. Now, I personally know the complexities of living in low-income housing throughout the county. I'm a product of it. I will also acknowledge that what assistance it can provide for those wanting to accomplish more in life. Good, affordable living conditions can literally change a person's course in life. I've been a carpenter with the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters for almost 20 years now. And today I have the pleasure of representing 1,900 hardworking blue-collar members of Local 805. Like you, our members are constantly hearing about the various problems throughout the city. We're here today to say that we are your economic driver that you've been looking for. So let's start working with developers to create solutions, better solutions. We're not just talking about housing. We want to tackle issues that include stimulating the local economy through earned wages, addressing social justice, environmental impacts, equity, career opportunities, and we just want to build better community wealth. You may be thinking to yourself, well, what are the carpenters doing here tonight? Well, we keep a strong interest in our community's planning, environmental impacts of developments, and we also advocate for the businesses to commit to use of local skilled and trained workforce. I know you've heard that a few times tonight, but specifically the employment of our local carpenters. Simi Valley's economic strength incorporates both the advancement and the quality of life of the local residents, right? Simi Valley's local economy is diverse and offers unique strengths in manufacturing, healthcare, and retail. But you can also add the construction industry to that list as well. These industries are what makes Simi Valley a desired place for business, and we need to support that. Whether you agree or disagree, what we do know for sure is that this project should be committed to enhancing the social equity and economic opportunity for many. It's absolutely shocking to see the project data with rental rates for these units, but yet the project will use underrepresented workers who won't earn anything nearly sufficient to rent these market rate units. As an experienced carpenter, builder, and past superintendent, I ask that you not only build an attractive, comfortable housing project, but that you also keep in mind the employment needs of our locals. Quit using underpaid craftsmen that create more low-income communities. We're local tradesmen, and like you said before, hardworking craftsmen and women. We want good housing projects built in the area, and we want to be the ones that build them. Not just some implanted workforce from Riverside or Bakersfield, like some of your other projects in town have been built. We strongly urge you to deny this project until worker protections, community benefits, and area standards for carpenter craft workers are met. We are your workforce. We are the ones that we recirculate our wages in the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our last speaker for this item is Rob Fallon. Mr. Fallon, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, good evening. Can you all hear me?
You can.
Great, yeah. So I'm a resident of Simi Valley, and I've been on these meetings for a few years now. I remember only about 2 or 3 years ago I was in a housing planning meeting, and you were going on about how stagnant construction is in Simi Valley. So to see this kind of stuff popping off, it looks beautiful. It'd be absolutely fantastic in our area. But we can't just provide housing. We need to provide housing, and we need to take care of the people in Simi Valley, because the people in Simi Valley can't afford this housing. I've lived down by Royal High School for many years, and there's just tarps everywhere. Tarp City, tarps on this roof, tarps on that roof. Nobody can afford to fix their roofs. There's no income coming in. It's it's real. It's poverty down there. If you guys are going to build something this beautiful, you need to also go that extra step, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You need to make this an agreed project where we use local skilled trained force, trades. We gotta bring people in who are local, so we don't have to leave town. We come here, we spend our money, we work local, we go home, we get to be better family members. We keep it local. And long story short, we build our economy back so we can afford to fix our roofs while we're building this beautiful housing and increasing our area. If you guys don't go ahead and you don't go ahead and commit to local hiring clauses, you're gonna have the same problem that you had at Patricia. You guys went and got a local contractor and you patted yourself on the back. Hey, we gave it to a local guy. That local guy went and subbed it out to a company over in Texas. They brought all their guys over from Texas, and all that money went back to Texas. And meanwhile, everyone's still got tarps on their roofs. So guys, like all the other people have said, I strongly urge you to deny this project until worker protections, benefits, and area standard wages for carpenter craft workers are met. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Okay,
There are no further hands raised for speaking on item 4A.
Okay, does staff have any rebuttal to comments?
Staff has no rebuttals to the public comments.
Okay, does the applicant desire any rebuttal to public comments? Okay, at this point, the hearing is closed. And questions from the city council?
Mayor, I have a question, if I may.
Okay.
I'm not sure which city staff person can answer this question. The public comments that were given via Zoom mention having a local hire provision. Do we have that in our, either as an ordinance or as part of our building code?
We do not.
Okay, do other cities have that?
I cannot address that.
Yeah, if we even pass something like that, that wouldn't apply necessarily to this project. It's not, they don't usually apply retroactively. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
If we passed a local hire provision, are they usually applied retroactively? Because my understanding is that they are not.
They are not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to go to a question for the city attorney because this is the first time I've actually heard this on a project in the city. Is it legal for the city, especially with today's state requirements for housing? I mean, I heard a couple commenters, and I completely agree. I wish the builder would hire local people. That'd be great. But I heard a couple comments from people saying they want to be hired for the local union about not approving the project. Now, is that seems in today's day and age in California, especially the state of California with new housing and RENA, all that kind of stuff, disapproving this project based on that, would that be legal or cover us in any such way?
If I understand your question, this council is not going to be able to condition it so that the applicant has to, let's say, hire pro-union, not based on the laws that we have in the books today. But they will have to also comply with any state requirements.
May I make a motion? Are you ready for that?
I'm sorry, no more questions, but wanted to make a quick comment before the motion, but that's all right if we're.
Okay. I move to adopt resolution number 2022-08, approving PD-S-2021-0005, TP-S-2021-0001, the mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring plan, and adopt resolution number 2022-09, approving the Affordable Housing Agreement, AHA 2021-0001.
I'd like to second the motion, Mayor, but give Mayor Pro Tem Litzler the opportunity to give her comment.
I think Councilmember Judge already seconded the motion.
Mayor Mashburn, if we could just clarify if, in that motion, if the city council agrees to the not calling the parking waiver a waiver, to remove that from the waiver list, and also if condition A27 would be removed.
As amended.
Yes.
I'll make the motion as amended, as what you just said.
To keep A27 or to remove it?
We wanted to remove, that was staff's recommendation to remove A27. So yes, I agree with that. A motion for that.
Right, Sean?
Remove A27 to not require additional design review. To not require additional review.
Oh, I thought, okay, one of them you recommended to drop one of them.
To drop the
The
waiver.
parking one, the waiver on the parking. And then I think the mayor and I both had expressed interest to keep A27
Yeah,
in.
and I thought it was a matter of keeping it, but putting it in your hands, not ours.
Correct, so that it can be
That's-
handled.
That's what we'd like to do, is let you make the final decision on that. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, second.
Mayor, may we have discussion?
I think we're done. We've discussed this. Okay.
I'll make it brief. The
can
reality
take
is I just asked questions before, and I just wanted to make a comment. That was all. I wanted to be very clear that I do think that it is appreciated that the developer has worked with the residents on Workman and have truly reached out. And I just want to make that clear that I really believe that you've tried to make this attractive to everyone that lives in that community and make it workable. And so I wanted to thank you for that. And it's an attractive design. I appreciate that you say it's affordable by design. I certainly hope that becomes the case as you do your pricing. And then just the last thought I was going to say was that I appreciate that the density is 20.1 acres. I think the way it is right now is lovely. I'm just hoping that it doesn't blossom on the other side and I understand that's being conditioned somehow. And so that was all. But I just want to say thank you for the time and attention you've put into our community. I think it will be, the desire is for that to have a downtown feel. I think you've given it a breath of air. So we look forward to seeing it built. Thank you.
Okay, call for the vote.
Councilmember Judge? The motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next item on the agenda is item 5.
Yeah, let's take a 10-minute break. We're going to take a 10-minute break. Okay, we'll bring the meeting back to order, please. Hope you all enjoyed the break.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next item on the agenda is item 5, public statements. This is the time for public statement on all items other than public hearings, appointments, and informational reports. All comments submitted by email have already been provided to the City Council. However, they will not be read by the City Clerk this evening. Speakers will be called on in the order in which their card was submitted, followed by speakers who signed on to Zoom to speak for this public statements item 5 for a period of no more than 3 minutes each. Persons addressing the City Council are requested to state their name and community of residence for the record. Mr. Mayor, unless you have any comments, we can begin public statements.
We are ready. First speaker.
John Lapper.
And City Council. Here are John Lapper's 10 asks for our Simi Valley City Council. Number 10, find a way to pay a salary to the volunteer senior share program coordinator at the senior center. Tom Poiser did a wonderful job, but that job should be funded by the city as a paid position. Number 9, will Mayor Mashburn and Councilman Judge approve a volunteer Democrat in the upcoming neighborhood council nominations? Number 8, thank you to Evelyn and Tony at the Junkyard Restaurant for finally complying with the city sign ordinance. 5 signs over the limit was a bit much. Amazing that our city council overlooked this violation at the Junkyard, AKA Republican faux headquarters. Number 7, now that the threat from the anti-maskers of Simi Valley to rush the council chambers to make an example of the mask mandate should be gone, I look forward to not needing 3 armed Simi Valley PD to protect the city council meetings. They're gone. Thank you, Chief. Number 6, please consider moving public general comments from agenda item 5 to number 2. Residents shouldn't have to wait 2 to 3 hours to voice their 3 minutes of free speech, especially since the city council members choose not to respond to emails. Number 5, will Councilman Ruth Luevanos ever get a second to one of her motions? Number 4, will Mike Judge pass the torch after 12 years in the city council and not run again, allowing for some fresh blood to represent Simi Valley? As his social media has left enough of a bloodstain on our city, your apparent disinterest towards the speakers is shameful. Number 3, is this city council concerned about the state of our main streets in Simi Valley? Does the sad shape of Madero Road after it exits Thousand Oaks city limits and enters the city of Simi Valley, approaching the Ronald Reagan Library, disturb you? I find it troublesome and embarrassing as a major gateway to our city. Number 2, can we get a report on the number of accidents and speeding tickets issued in our city? What is the city council, city manager, and Simi Valley PD doing about the traffic concerns of Simi Valley? And the number 1 concern of John Lapper tonight, will Mayor Mashburn thank John Lapper for not calling him a liar at tonight's city council meeting? Thank you, city council, and prayers for Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bruce Boyer.
Start the clock yet. I think I got to move this thing down.
One second, if I can ask. Mr. Lapper, are you making a public records request on item number 3 then, it sounded like?
What?
Are you making a Public Records Act request? I think it was as to item number 3.
Oh, my number 3?
You wanted police citations? That was number 2. Number 2?
Yeah, that was number 2.
Is that a public records request then you're making?
No, I'd have to do that at City Hall. I think I'm hoping.
You can do it orally if you want. I'm just asking if you're making a public records request.
I would love to if I could do it without having to go to City Hall and do all the paperwork.
Okay, it'll be noted.
Thank you.
Ready? All righty.
Ready.
Howdy, I'm Bruce Boyer, candidate for sheriff here in Ventura County and a resident of Lake Manor. And it is genuinely good to see everybody again. Thank you. Tonight I'd like to bring up something new that we've been trying to bring out, but we've been locked outside for 5 weeks. So now that we're inside, as a candidate for sheriff, I talk to people and I'm asked by the gun owners in this county, and there's 30,000 plus just here in Simi Valley, about the policy of issuing concealed carry permits and about their ability to exercise their Second Amendment. Now, I know at least a couple of council members are very strong supporters vocally of the Second Amendment, and I would like to know that, and I believe that all of you support all of our Bill of Rights, whether they're the First Amendment, the Second, and all of them. So I'm asked, well, Bruce, you can do that as sheriff, but what can be done in Simi Valley? And I said, well, in America today, out of our 3,114 counties, we have nearly 2,000 that have declared themselves Second Amendment sanctuaries, meaning they will not allow their law enforcement to recognize laws that violate our Second Amendment rights. Yeah, that's a lot of counties. Cities can do the same. I said, well, Bruce, what's it take for Simi Valley to do it? Simi Valley can declare itself recognizing our Second Amendment rights, saying that our Second Amendment rights will not be violated by state or federal law, and they will not allow the Simi Valley Police to have our rights violated. It takes 3 votes of the city council. And they said, well, what's it going to take to get 3 votes of the city council? I said, well, you got 30,000 gun owners in this city. If 30,000 of them showed up at a city council meeting and said, we want our Second Amendment rights, it does take 2 meetings to do that, but that would happen. Because all 30,000 gun owners in this city want the right to keep and bear arms. Now, let me qualify that. The right to keep and bear arms is that. Can we, the people, sling a rifle over our shoulder and, I don't know, walk down Los Angeles Avenue and walk into Greta's Guns with it? Under current state law, no. No, we're getting cuffed. We're going to jail. Now, not all of us, most of us. Councilmember Judge would not be going to jail. Retired police officer badge, he has a Second Amendment right. Councilmember Luevanos, if you chose to carry a gun in public, you're going to jail. So we ask the question, why is it that 0.2% of the population have a Second Amendment, but 99.8% of us don't? Why is it that Mayor Mashburn cannot be trusted to carry a gun, but he's trusted to be mayor? Well, I don't live in the city, but he's your mayor. You voted for him. You voted for Luevanos. You voted for D.D. Kavanaugh. Why are these people not to be trusted with a Second Amendment right? Let's have a public forum, and let's have that discussed and hashed out, shall we? Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Elena Johnson?
Good evening, Mayor Mashburn and members of the City Council. It's the end of February. The last time I was here, it was Valentine's Day, and I wish a great Valentine's Day. Now it's a great ending of the month of February. There's no 29, so here we go, right? The first thing I would like to talk about is I hope that that building, anything that you're building right now, is built right away. I'm driving by Sycamore Drive, where we have all the 3 floors of the new buildings they're building. And I have a reason for saying that. If we're going to add any housing, I want you to make the best decision. I get that, right? And you voted. So I hope that they will build it, and they will build it the right way that will provide opportunities for our residents to be able to occupy those apartments. So that at the end of the day, the ADUs and the SB9 housing will be cut to a minimum. Ms. Lister, it's not funny. I know you're laughing with what I'm saying, but I say that because if we have more houses around us, maybe the owners of the single-family homes will not be compelled to do ADUs or do SB9. I came home last night, and my husband was very upset. He was talking to the neighbors, and the neighbor goes, Rory said there is a building in Fallon Court that was approved for ADU, and they are going to do it for rental property. I don't remember the regulations about the ADUs, but it's not something for their relatives to occupy. They're going to rent the ADU. At the end of the other street, by French Court, I live in Hollister Street, so I know all that French Court. In French Court, another house was approved for ADU, right? And I'm very concerned because my cousin, who used to be an inspector for Los Angeles County, left his place at the end of the road by Cooner Drive, right? He moved to Texas. And when I saw him, I'm getting out of here because I live in a cul-de-sac and my neighbor built another ADU. Already, parking space, right? And resources are very limited already where he is. So I wanted to say that. I want good quality houses in our city so that all those other additional units that are impacting our single-family homes, although I know we don't have that anymore because of the state law, right? So I still urge the city council to come up with resolutions that will make it better if we allow for the neighboring houses, if we allow any more ADUs or SB9. The last thing I want to talk about is item 8A in the agenda. I don't know why we're bringing that up again. People voted already to reject cannabis in city of Simi Valley. You put an agenda item, 8A, to bring it back, and I'm going like, why are we discussing that? My husband and I were part of the 25,588 people that voted no. Thank you. Please don't bring it up anymore.
Thank you.
David, do we have anyone on Zoom?
No, there's no one on Zoom with their hand raised.
Mr. Mayor, we have no more speaker cards.
Okay. Council or Mayor Pro Tem Litzer.
Actually, Ms. Johnson, I want to tell you, I was smiling because I liked that way of thinking, liked your idea that if I understood what you were saying, that if you'd like to get these things to be built and done quickly so that possibly it will restrict some of the ADU and SB9 divisions. So I was smiling at that thought process. I also wanted to just respond. It is my understanding that with ADUs that they do not have to be restricted to, they can be used as rental property, supportive property. There's nothing that in any way restricts them for family use as at least as directed by the state. So we.
Know that I talk about a neighbor in front of me with families, right? And they rented it out, and there were 5 cars.
No,
and I'm sorry,
It'll go on
that's your name,
forever.
but I know your reaction
This
to
is
what
supposed to
I'm
be
saying.
brief.
Yeah. No,
I love it. You're paying attention to what I'm saying.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Maybe the city attorney could do us a favor and put a report, give us something back in a memo in our boxes or something about this Second Amendment sanctuary thing. Because I'm not sure what that means, number one, and I don't understand how the city could override any state or federal laws. Number two, our sheriff here in our county, the current sheriff, does a great job at issuing CCWs. All 3 candidates running for sheriff in Ventura County have promised to keep that going. So there is no reason for our police department here in Simi Valley to commit full-time personnel to the job of issuing CCWs, which is what we'd have to do. I think the sheriff's department has between 5 and 7 officers, sheriff's deputies, excuse me, assigned to that job full-time. We do not have those resources. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, CCWs, concealed carry weapons? Thank you.
Oh, I just want to comment that I'll make sure to get that memo to the city council.
Everybody done? Okay, then
No,
we'll
Mayor,
have
Ruth
Luevanos.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, I wanted to respond to Mr. Laffer's comment about moving public comments. They used to be item number 2 instead of item number 5. Now, I know why we moved them, but is there any possibility of moving it back? Because it is very late. And luckily, we don't have too much stuff on the agenda today, but I don't recall us ever agreeing as a body to change it. It just got changed.
Yeah, go ahead, and then we'll.
I would say, if this is desired of the council, we're more than happy to combine 5 and 2 and just do it once. That's not a problem.
I don't mind combining them, but I'd like to relay why it was changed. When it was early in the meeting, there was so much grandstanding going on by the council, and the people that come in with projects and what have you, they oftentimes bring developers that are on payroll. They have consultants that are on payroll, and we would sit here for over an hour and bloviate on who knows what. And we determined that it would be more fair to the people that are on payroll to get on with the meeting so we can get their part of the meeting just simply because of the cost to them. Now, I'm not saying that's the answer. I'm just letting you know that's why it was changed. And now it doesn't go quite as long, but still because it's televised too, is oftentimes people want to use it as a platform for whatever they're advertising.
Part of the other issue is that when we have a public presentation as we had today with President Moorpark College and as well as Youth Council, they would have to follow after public comments. So if you move all of your public comments to the beginning, those individuals could potentially be waiting for a very long time before they're able to make their presentations.
My recollection, Mayor, was that it was moved because Councilman Judge was concerned that we were giving certificates out to, local schools, for awards, things like that, and that they had to wait a long time to get their awards. That was the reason why it was moved. That's my recollection.
I think
that's correct, as well as the presentations that everyone would have to wait till the end.
it was actually Bob Huber that made the change, and at that time, I thought it was what I said, but it could possibly be also.
Well, I was on city council, and I've never been on city council with former Mayor Huber. So
Yeah.
I know it was while I was on the dais.
I think it's something worth discussing, that's for sure.
Do we have to put this on a 9B, or?
We can bring it back. We're probably
I think
talking a
you're
little bit too much
conflating-
on this anyway, so.
But you're conflating council's calendars with the public comments. We moved public comments, just like Councilmember Lovano said, so that we could accommodate the youth councils and the people getting certificates and awards, so they didn't have to wait all night.
Correct.
The calendar is what we moved to the back of the agenda under Huber, because that was used for campaigning by city council members and stuff like that.
And if you read, well, I think it's something that we should agendize or.
We can put on a future agenda. No
Because
problem.
there is something that can be done to speed things up, I'm sure. It's just, it's going to take a lot of discussion.
Sure.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 6, the consent calendar, and there are 3 resolutions for your consideration this evening. Consent item 7, resolution number 2022-10, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley accepting the final map subdivision improvement agreement and approving securities for the construction of public improvements for tract number 6019 located at 2145 Callahan Avenue. Consent item 8, resolution number 2022-11, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley accepting the final map subdivision improvement agreement and approving securities for the construction of public improvements for tract number 5886 located at 1748 Haywood Street. And consent item 9, resolution number 2022-12, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley adopting program supplement number 050-F to the administering agency state agreement number 07-5405F15 for preliminary engineering services for rehabilitation of the Los Angeles Avenue Bridge over the Arroyo Simi Federal and project number BHLS-5405076.
Okay, those that want to pull any items, remember consent 6 is removed.
Mayor, I don't want to poll, but I do want to make a motion
Okay,
to move consent items 1 through 5 and 7 through 9.
Second.
okay. Have a motion and second, call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 7A, approval of the Memorandum of Understanding with the Simi Valley Police Managers Association and adoption of a resolution. The reading of the resolution is as follows. Resolution number 2022-13, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley amending the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Simi Valley and the Simi Valley Police Officers Association and rescinding resolution number 2020-47 and all previous resolutions to the extent that they are in conflict herewith. And Samantha Argerbright is presenting this item.
Good evening, Mayor Mashburn and members of the City Council. The item before you is the adoption of the Memorandum of Understanding with the Simi Valley Police Managers Association. The policy goals communicated to the negotiating team by the City Council for this negotiation included recognizing employees' commitment and dedication to the city and providing modest compensation increases while minimizing long-term cost to the city. Staff has been meeting with representatives from the PMA, and the proposed revisions to the MOU are before you for consideration. Briefly, the MOU includes a 2-year agreement from the term of July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2023, a 3.75% salary increase, and a one-time 2% lump sum payment. Effective for the calendar year 2023 and ongoing, the cash out of annual leave will be restricted to irrevocable elections made the prior December and of only that time earned during the calendar year in compliance with the constructive receipt doctrine of the IRS. Effective with the first pay period following City Council approval, the city will increase the 401k non-matching contribution from $150 per pay period to a total non-matching contribution of $350 per pay period, up to a maximum city contribution of $500 per biweekly paycheck, inclusive of the city's non-matching and matching contributions. SVPMA members will have the ability to convert salary to annual leave at the rate of 1 hour of earned salary compensation for 1 hour of annual leave, and there is no Me Too clause in this agreement. The agreement total cost, year one, $86,000, $21,000 of which is subject to PERS. Year two, $165,000, $64,000 of which is subject to PERS. Over the contract term, the cost of the agreement is $251,000. In summary, as previously discussed, this is a 2-year agreement, which includes a 3.75% salary increase following the City Council approval, as well as a 2% one-time payment to employees effective with the first full pay period following the implementation of the 3.75% increase. It is recommended that the City Council adopt the MOU with the Simi Valley PMA as presented, and I'm available for questions.
Mayor, I have a question, if I may.
Yes.
Sorry, you just said it really fast, Samantha. Can you just say how much of the 21-22 is PERSable and how much of the 22-23 is PERSable?
Right, so $21,760 of the first year is PERSable, and $64,000 of the second year, $165,000 is PERSable, for a total of $85,000 for this agreement.
So that's what we're on the hook for in terms of PERS, like forever, yes?
So that is what is subject to today. As salaries increase with payroll increases, things like that, it would increase as well.
But that's not the PERSable cost. The PERSable cost is $3,710, $3,710 this fiscal year, and $18,383 for next fiscal year, and that would be ongoing. That's the cost to the city in terms of the PERS.
Right, for those years.
Correct.
Yes.
It's the 18 that would continue on.
Okay. Okay, and then can you just explain, because I had a resident ask me, I know the answer, but I want you to explain it. Under the total, they said this is for 10 employees, and it says a total is $251,000. Does that mean each employee is getting $25,000? Can you explain that?
So the entire contract agreement does apply to 10 employees, and the cost for that agreement, including the salary increases as well as other elements of the compensation that are impacted by salary increases, are also going up for that total agreement cost over 2 years. So it is not as simple as 10 employees are getting that money in their pocket. However, the cost of the agreement, including all of the other roll-ups, is a $251,000 cost to the city for 10 employees.
Okay, that comes out of our general budget, yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Litzler.
Actually, I was going to make a motion, but are we at that point?
We'll take it.
Okay. I move that we adopt the attached resolution number 2022-13, approving revisions to the current memorandum of understanding with the Simi Valley Police Managers Association, SVPMA employees.
Okay, motion and second. Call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 8A, discussion and possible action regarding cannabis in the city of Simi Valley. And Samantha Argabright will present this item as well.
Good evening. During the January 24th, 2022 City Council meeting, the council requested that staff return with a review of the measures related to cannabis that were placed on the 2018 ballot for review and discussion. There were 3 measures placed on the ballot. One was a tax measure, and there were 2 advisory measures posed to the community. Advisory measures are non-binding and are a way to gauge the community's interest in a particular item. Measure Q is the city's tax proposal regarding cannabis sales in the community. This measure has allowed the city to tax cannabis sales in the community since, and on average, the city receives about $15,000 of revenue per year due to cannabis deliveries. Measures R and S were both advisory measures. Measure R asked if marijuana-related businesses should be allowed in the community, and the measure was defeated by 1,979 votes. Measure S asked voters if marijuana businesses, if they were to be allowed, should be limited to operate in the sexually oriented business overlay zone. Nearly 4,000 voters did not think that marijuana-related businesses should be limited to only that area of the city. And just as a refresher, this is the map of the sensitive uses overlay for the city of Simi Valley. The adult-oriented business area is highlighted in purple. As described in the staff report, most cities in the county have moved toward allowing some cannabis-related businesses in their communities to varying degrees. The cities of Camarillo, Santa Paula, and Simi Valley prohibit cannabis activities. The council may wish to consider one of the 4 alternatives provided on the screen or provide alternative direction to staff. And those alternatives are provided. Direct staff to return with language for an advisory cannabis measure to be included during the November 2022 general municipal election. And as a reminder, it is not necessary to pose the question to voters before taking action. Direct staff to return with a revision to the municipal code allowing for the sale of medical and/or recreational cannabis in the city. Direct staff to poll the neighborhood councils regarding sales of cannabis in the city, receive and file this report, or alternative direction. And I'm available for questions.
Any questions of staff?
I do. May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Can you put up that last slide right before that? Sorry, thank you. I was just curious. So one of the selections is to do language for a measure to be included on the November election. The other one is to direct staff to poll neighborhood councils. If we were to poll neighborhood councils and get responses back from them, would we still have time to possibly put a measure on the election?
I should think so. We're in February, almost March. We don't have to tell the county until June what we want to do, so we should have time to be able to.
Okay, thank
That'd
you.
be for November.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to call for the election in June, and we have to include the advisory measures at that time. But yeah, for the November election.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Lebanos?
If we go to the city council, if we go to the neighborhood councils, as Councilmember Kavanaugh suggests, would they get the same presentation we're getting? Like all the same data, like in terms of how much revenue, the cities get, and then how, like the city of Oxnard only issued permits for 14 applicants. Like, would they get all that information so that they could, see how different cities in the counties handle cannabis sales?
Yes, we can do that. We can provide the same staff report that you're receiving this evening to the neighborhood councils.
Okay, because I think there's a continuum, right? And I think there's some people that are on different ends of the continuum, but what I do see is that there are lots of deliveries to Simi Valley cannabis-related products. What I do see is a lot of people in Simi Valley go elsewhere in Ventura County and LA County to buy cannabis products. I have gone every time it's 4th of July, the CBD oil at every pet shop in Simi Valley is sold out. And we have quite a few pet shops, but it's the only thing that calms down my dog with all the fireworks. So I don't want to spend my money somewhere else. I want to spend it here. I want it to go to businesses here. I agree with if we have time for it to go to the neighborhood council so that we can get input from them, but also, advertise it to make sure that people know that they can go to the neighborhood council meeting so that they can give input, so it's not just, an executive board decision, but it's truly the community input and that they're all aware that they can vote. that you don't have to be on the neighborhood council executive board meeting to weigh in. You can go as a non-executive board member. Does that make sense? Yeah. And still have your voice heard. Then I would love for that to be an option. I would agree with Councilmember Kavanaugh in that regard.
I agree with Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
My question is, when marijuana or products are delivered into our city and they're purchased online, et cetera, do we receive any tax revenues?
That's the tax revenue that we're currently receiving, that about $15,000 a year. So at the time that the City Council offered up to the voters the measure in 2018 about tax revenue, that's provided us with the vehicle to be able to tax that. So our company that we consult with for taxing is able to provide a list of who is currently providing us with those tax revenues and who's reporting that.
Okay, so we are receiving, I just want to be very clear for this conversation that we are getting revenues from purchases of those products.
We are, about
without
$15,000 a
any
year.
potential externalities from having them physically here.
But is it an accurate in the sense of being able to tell how many people are bringing cannabis into the city?
I would say that right now we have the information as to who's delivering. I don't know that that's necessarily completely all-encompassing for those that might be purchasing their marijuana elsewhere and bringing it home. For example, Port Hueneme provides a lot of different opportunities for people to purchase marijuana-related products, and we don't capture anything related to purchases made in other cities.
Yeah, so what I'm driving at is I personally think that those numbers, while they're good from the standpoint that what we received, it certainly doesn't indicate what's coming into this city.
Correct. I would agree.
Do we need a vote or a motion, or yes? Councilmember Kavanaugh, you want to make the motion? I'll second it.
I make a motion that we take this to the neighborhood councils and get their thoughts and processes and how they want to do things, and then bring it back to the council. And at that point in time, we can review their responses and decide whether we want to go on to the November election ballot.
I'll second that motion.
And I'm going to make it clear that I'm voting against it because I believe that several years ago we put it to the voters and they spoke clearly that 52% did not want sales and production here in our city, and I stand by that discussion 2 years ago. Just making clear why I'm going to be voting no.
If I could respond back to you, I tend to agree with you with the one exception. Things change over a couple of years, and the number of people that have been requesting us to look at this again seems to be relatively high. So, and we're not voting on it. We're still looking at advisory, not us making the law.
And if it comes back to where you want to put this on the ballot, you can tailor it very narrowly. So just be advised that way too.
And that becomes part of the question is perhaps we want to split the question up to you can have retail sales, medical or recreational, and then you can have manufacturing facilities and cultivating facilities, which perhaps we want to have a few different questions to get to query the neighborhood councils to find out the tolerance, if any, to the different types of activity. So we'll tailor that so the council has a better idea of what the reaction is from the neighborhood council.
If everybody saw that video of the apartment exploding, I don't think they want manufacturing.
Yeah, that's true, yes.
I think
there's a bad side to manufacturing.
At the risk of causing more work for staff, which I always try avoiding, and knowing what other cities are experiencing that are selling would be helpful too. Because
that's why I want this report shared. That's exactly why, Mayor.
Yeah. Okay. So call for the vote.
The motion passes with Mayor Pro Tem Litster voting no. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 9A, City Council member reports.
Okay, we'll start with Council Member Luevanos.
You'll be very happy. I'll be very brief. The week of Valentine's, which was also my birthday week, was also the same week that my dad had shoulder surgery, so I spent most of the week taking care of my dad. The following week, Thursday, February 24th, I was invited to the American Association of University Women to judge a speech contest. And the topic, which was wonderful, was about, is this a country of liberty and justice? And should we include diversity, equity, and inclusion classes in the high school curriculum? And I have to tell you, it was really inspiring to hear so many diverse high school students participate in the speech contest. There's a $500 prize, a $250 prize, and a $125 prize. We have our own branch of AAUW here in Simi Valley. They have the Trek Tech program. I highly encourage you, if you're in middle school and you're considering any STEM field at all, you have to be a girl. Okay, sorry, boys. It's for girls. If you are considering going into science, technology, engineering, or math, into medicine, into science, please consider applying for the Trek Tech program. It was fun. I got to hang out with Temi Helmuth from the Girl Scout CEO of the California Central Coast, and it is Girl Scout cookie season. Please support your local Girl Scouts. Shameless plug for the Girl Scouts. But that is how the girls fund a lot of the things that they do, from day camp to trips and camping and all the things they do. But it was a wonderful speech contest and very inspirational. And to all those high school students that participated in the Junior Statesmen of America Winter Congress session this past weekend, that my husband and I were shuttling our daughter to and fro, Saturday, February 26th, and Sunday, February 27th. Congratulations, and I hope you all had a wonderful time. And that is my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Thursday, February 17th, I attended the VC REA meeting, and not too much to report back out of that. It was regarding Simi Valley. They are looking, though, because they did lose some funding by Southern California, the gas company, not Edison, gas company, pulled some funding from them. So they're probably going to be coming back to the city asking for more money at some point in time. Not saying that's going to happen, but it's a possibility. On Friday, February 25th, I attended the grand opening of Studio 329, which is a new salon over by Z Pizza, and it was. I mean, for a salon, it had like 6 or 7 chairs in there, but there was a lot of people there for that grand opening. It was very impressive to see people again out having fun at those kind of things. On Saturday, February 26th, I attended an Elks meeting for the PSPS mitigation. The Elks are going to move forward with that hopefully soon. We'll see what comes out of it. It's going to be on their property, so it's up to them to approve it, and we're just waiting to see what happens. On Sunday, February 27th, I attended the opening day along with Mayor Pro Tem Lister and Mayor Mashburn and a couple members of the Simi Valley Park and Recreations Board of the opening day of Simi Valley Girls Softball. And that's my report.
Okay. Councilmember Kavanaugh. Sorry. Called on.
Thank you. Mine's going to be fairly short also. For those of you that work or have direct reports and have to do reviews, I've been working on 14 reviews over the last 2 weeks. So I've been very busy. This time of year, it always gets that way. Thursday, February 17th, we had our EDC, Economic Development Collaborative, General Board meeting. Again, lots of good stuff going on there. Hopefully, we're going to start seeing something here in the East County. I didn't bring the list of things that have been going on recently, but there's a lot of them, so I'll share them at the next meeting or maybe pass out to the council. Bruce Stensley just keeps doing a fantastic job, and staff, and we're growing, and I can't say enough about businesses. Go to edcollaborative.com and check it out. It's all free. So that's my plug for them today. On Friday, February 18th, I met with Assemblymember Jackie Irwin, who her district will be, Simi Valley will become part of her district after the next election. So she is running, so she will most likely be our assembly person. I've known Jackie for years, so it was very nice to speak with her, and she asked about Simi Valley and who who should she talk to, you know, to see what we need. And I know she's spoken to the city manager. She's very interested in helping out Simi Valley in whatever we need. So if you have any ideas or thoughts, excuse me, let me know. That reminds me, somebody was talking about the roads earlier today. We're spending money on the roads. We're doing that good. So just give us a little bit of time. And for the first time in probably, I don't know how many years, I missed the Simi Valley Girls Softball opening day. I was so heartbroken. But I'm glad the rest of you were there to watch it. And my last item is probably the most important today, is I want to wish happy birthday to our mayor on March 9th. So happy birthday.
39.
39.
And holding.
Thank you, Dee Dee.
That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Litzner.
Thank you, Mayor. On Tuesday, February the 15th, I attended the Youth Council meeting, and I told them that I was going to plug our Youth Summit, actually calling it Youth Symposium, and Mateus did a lovely job talking about it, but I'm just going to say it again. It is Thursday, March 10th, and what's lovely about it is that students can attend. They're excused. They get an excused absence. It's a great learning experience at the Reagan Library, just a fabulous opportunity. So parents, encourage your youth to participate with that. Wednesday, February 16th, I attended the Simi Valley Arts Commission meeting, and good things are happening in the arts. What is a little disappointing, of course, is not disappointing, but I guess it's to be expected. We had such a banner year right before COVID with our performance, and it just was stellar. And of course, getting back to performance, and it's just getting the Cultural Arts Center filled again. It's going to take a little bit of time, and so but as people become more accustomed to returning to those events, I will tell you that I attended 2 weeks ago the Spitfire Grill. If I'm saying that right, it was a phenomenal performance. It really was incredible, but they had COVID seating, and so it was very open, and so I felt a little bit for the people on stage to have to look out and see but it was phenomenal performance. So please keep that in the back of your mind and attend their functions that are upcoming. On Saturday, February the 19th, this totally is baseball opening season, and it's been very fun to go to 3 different baseball opening events. On Saturday, February the 19th, I attended the Santa Susana Baseball's opening day, and it's their 60th anniversary. So they were formed before Simi Valley became a city, and it's kind of exciting to think that they have been in operation 60 years. I mean, that's a lot of volunteers, a lot of parents making it happen year after year. They introduced Andrew Nardi into their Hall of Fame, who plays on Marlins AA. And I learned that the Pony League, stands for Protecting Our Nation's Youth. And I don't think I knew that before. So that's what the Pony League stands for. So anyway, that was on the 19th. And happy President's Day on February 21st. On Wednesday, February 23rd, I attended the Chamber's legislative meeting. I will tell you, it's always informative to see how everyone's working at different levels of government and what's on the agendas. So I encourage that for all who have access to that. On Thursday, February 24th, I appreciated meeting with our city manager, Brian Gabler, and also had an opportunity to visit with some constituents who are just concerned about Runkle Canyon and what's happening there. On Friday, February 25th, I appreciated attending the grand opening, Studio 329 with Councilmember Judge and Mayor Mashburn. On Saturday, February 26th, back to baseball. It was there I attended the Simi Valley Baseball League's opening ceremony, and that's where my youngest son attended. They're on Royal Avenue, and I just want my hats are off to Andy Gerber, their president, Karen Stone, their secretary, who I interacted with, and their whole board that just do so much. They're just the amount of volunteers that make all of these leagues run are just absolutely tremendous. And there I learned a little bit more about Cal Ripken and the Babe Ruth International. So I'm getting my baseball education in these last 2 weeks. And then Sunday, of course, Dee Dee, you were missed. It is not the same without you there taking pictures of every single costume that goes by. But yes, we did see fathers in tutus And it was just a lovely, lovely opening day for Simi Valley girls softball. And what was great is they had 6 or 7 high school seniors who were had signed letters of intent to play in different colleges. And it's kind of exciting to see what a stepping stone that is for our Simi Valley young women. So that concludes my report, and let's play ball.
I think you forgot to mention that you two were at the Studio 329 Salon.
I was there, and I learned that 329 is the birth date of the owner's son. And that is why. And he was a little embarrassed as that was called to his attention. He's turning 11, and that was a little embarrassing to know that there's a hair salon that's named in his honor.
Okay. For me, I attended the February 15th Youth Council meeting, and as Elaine said, they're busy getting ready for their summit or symposium at the Reagan Library. I heard someone make a comment about roads, and yes, it's almost to the point where we need to educate people and the constituency to how long it takes to do some of these things. It's not that we're dragging our feet, we're spending the money, but there's a process that has to be gone through, and it's time consuming. And I think once they knew and understood the process, then they would be a lot more understanding. On Wednesday, February 16th, I did a sea-level visit with the Chamber of Commerce, and we went to Advanced Metal Manufacturing, a manufacturing company here in Simi Valley. Very enlightening. It's really great to watch a company like that moving forward with technology and teaching us about that technology. So that was very good. Thursday, February 17th, talked to the CM and Cavalia about some changes they have in the plans that we've all heard about. Trying to get to it. I went to Studio 329. They would not do a miracle job on my head, so I was out of luck. So on Saturday, February 26th, I, along with Council Member Judge, attended the Elks meeting and the negotiations process with Edison on putting in a micro power grid on their property, and something that the city staff, city manager, myself have always been in the position of please keep negotiating, and hoping that, because it would be a big benefit to the community. And right now it's the Elks need to negotiate between themselves to get a final agreement across. I too went to the opening day on February 27th of Simi Valley Girls Softball, and also went to SYB, Simi Youth Baseball, and I want you to know that they too are 60 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's 2 baseball leagues here in Simi Valley that are 60 years old. I forgot what day it was, I toured waste management, the landfill, very educational. It's amazing the money they spend. If we could get into their budget and help us with some things, but they do already help us with a multitude of different projects here in the city. And I encourage anybody, I could hook you up with who to call, but go to that tour. It's really educational, and what they're doing environmentally is just amazing. And all I could say is it's about, say, at the most a 2-hour tour, but you'll walk out of there so much wiser about our environment and how to protect it and what needs to be done with our waste hauling and recycling. So please do that. And that's it. Oh, I forgot to mention, on Wednesday, the 23rd, myself and the local motorcycle dealership, Simi Valley Cycles, we sponsored a special showing of a movie that's 50 years old called On Any Sunday, and it was held at the Studio Movie Grill, and we sold out. And it was well received. It's amazing that a movie that's 50 years old doesn't necessarily look vintage. If you saw it today, you would think it was very recent. Anyway, that was a big success and kind of a gift to the city because the price of doing this got so high that I was ready to drop out. But Simi Cycles, the owner, said, no, no, no. And he bought 100 tickets, dropped the prices in half, and that's why it was so successful. And it just turned out to be a gift to the residents that did attend. So with that, that's it. Sure.
I just feel remiss if I don't tell everybody that my little league, Torrance Little League, participated in the College World Series last year. Thank you.
Okay.
Woohoo!
So, Mr. City Attorney, how far did the team get when you were on the team? Because we know you're a ball player.
We didn't quite make it to the College World Series, but it's a great league, and I encourage people that have children, if they can, to engage in softball and baseball. I have very fond memories.
Babe Ruth, did you play with him?
Played varsity at Torrance High, starting third baseman for 2 years.
Okay, remember Elaine's starting to know all about baseball. She's going to look you up. Okay, this time we want to talk about future agenda items. I think we already have one that we talked about. What's the other one?
We have memo to an email discussion regarding Second Amendment sanctuary that the city attorney will put together and send that to the city council, and then a discussion regarding moving public statements earlier in the agenda.
Ah, okay.
I also wanted to point out that retired police officers aren't allowed to walk down the street carrying a rifle in the state of California. Just
Mayor, I have two requests, if I may.
Yes.
The first one was, since we got so many public comments, to look into adopting a skilled and workforce trade requirement ordinance. I like the idea of keeping jobs local here, of hiring our local people. Wouldn't have to be everyone, but just like a percentage. That's what I've seen other cities do. So I would love a staff report on that and whether or not that's possible, what other cities have done, so that we can, make sure that we are hiring our own people and not, giving advantages. We have a lot of construction that's happening in the city, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but I'd like an investigation into that, if that's possible.
Okay.
It's not necessarily an investigation. You want to look into the validity of a request.
Research, yeah, the viability of it. Do other cities do it, and what percentage is it, and does it help or not? And so, yeah.
Okay, I personally don't care to agendize it for a discussion from us. I would rather see a report come in from staff.
Yeah, I'm fine. I would just like to see what the research is, because I'm not.
Okay. Okay?
And can I make my second request?
Yes.
I appreciate city manager and staff with the research that they did on the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, given the fact that our Simi Valley Youth Council has a committee, an entire town hall that's dedicated to the issue of mental health. And we know that truth commissions historically have helped societies to address collective trauma and abuse, and that cities like Iowa have formed Truth and Reconciliation Committees to bear witness, I quote, to the truth of racial justice in the city and to carry out restorative justice. I am asking for a second on the formation of a Truth and Reconciliation Committee. There are a lot of people in our city that have been traumatized by a lot of divisive comments and actions in the city, and I think it would be healing and help us move forward as a city if we could have public forums to discuss that and to make sure we address those issues and never have those issues come up again.
Okay.
No one cares about truth and reconciliation?
When we
Don't-
don't
Okay.
second,
Don't
we're
do
not
that.
saying no one cares.
Okay.
No,
well,
I'm not going to second it, but I think that it'd be nice on occasion to have a conversation, but I don't think we need to make a committee. So I'm not seconding a committee.
I don't either, especially after the letter we got
Right.
from the staff.
It's very rare. It's a very unusual and it's hard to kind of direct, but that doesn't mean we can't on occasion have forums or an opportunity or town hall or something to.
Correct, and maybe work with the school district, the park district, and see what they already have in place, because they might already have something. But yeah, I don't believe that we need to actually form this formal committee at this point.
Well, I disagree. I think we need it. I think we need to heal the trauma. We've had comments, divisive comments that have been made here from the dais that have caused great harm to, residents of the city. And I don't think we can move forward. I don't think we can change what many people perceive Simi Valley to be unless we're willing to confront our past and change it. That's the purpose of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. I want to remind you that, not this current police chief, but a previous police chief did approve a parade permit for the Ku Klux Klan right after the Rodney King trial happened here in Simi Valley. We have to rectify that. We have to confront it. We have to deal with it. We have to make sure we don't repeat that ever again in this city. And if we're not, as leaders, willing to do that, then how do we ever move forward? And how do our residents move forward?
I don't need to be lectured to, so I think we did not get a second, so I think that's the end of it. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. This is for adjournment. Once again, unfortunately, we need to adjourn in memory of a police officer, Nicholas Vella. He was with the Huntington Beach Police Department. My understanding, died as a result of a helicopter crash. And Officer Jorge David Alvarado Jr., who is with the Salinas Police Department, and recent news articles and what have you about Salinas, they've been having their troubles and dealing with crime, and unfortunately, Officer Alvarado was a victim of one of those crime deals, yeah. Okay, with that, meeting's adjourned.